Good evening and welcome to Us Money Space with me. My name is Kalu Aja and this is a Money Space on Twitter, or X as we call it now. And of course here we're talking personal finance, the economy, and of course the money. We want to break down those hard topics and make it relevant to your personal wallet. This week we're talking FDI, foreign direct investment. You can just look at it. We're talking about how Nigeria has attracted investment in the past, and we're looking at what we're doing today, and we're asking a question, a very simple question: is Nigeria still a preferred destination for foreign direct investment? FDIs would mean foreigners bringing money to Nigeria for long term to buy assets in Nigeria. So you've got FDI, which is foreign direct investment, but you've also got foreign portfolio investment, and they're two different sort of investment. Let me just explain the difference. When you buy Nigerian bonds, you're not buying an asset or land or property in Nigeria. You are buying a security that has been issued by the state bank or the debt management office or whoever it is, right? But you're buying that security. You're not buying directly. You're indirectly investing in Nigeria. That's a foreign portfolio investment. When you buy direct, when you do FDI, you are investing directly into Nigeria. So you're buying land in, say, Shagamu to put a Nestle plant, or you're buying into an oil well in Niger Delta to put a gas plant. So FDIs are more, should we say, they are more deep, they are longer lasting, they have more impact because you are actually investing in the assets of the people. It creates jobs more and more directly. So we're looking at FDIs as that measure. And FDI actually is the result, just like we usually say. When you pass good policies, then you attract foreign investors, right? Foreign investors are looking for where to invest excess capital because they've got capital, they want to invest it. Mr. Warren Buffett, through Berkshire Hathaway, has got $171 billion cash. This is not invest, this is cash and near cash. If he holds cash and near cash, he doesn't make anything from it. Maybe now he's making 5%, which is very good, but he doesn't really make it. He wants to invest that money to work for him in equity. So Mr. Warren Buffett is looking all across the world for where he can invest. He's seen Ghana, he's seen Indonesia, he's seen Vietnam, he's seen Mexico, and he's also seen Nigeria. So Nigeria has got to understand that they are competing with all those countries. Then Nigeria then passes policy. And it's that policy that attracts Mr. Warren Buffett to then come to Nigeria and invest. So what has been our record so far? If we look at the FDI flow to Nigeria, and guys, I put the data up yesterday. So if you look at my pinned tweet, I put lots of like a trend there just to show the numbers per se. The numbers tell the same story. The numbers tell the story that the FDI falling by a lot. It's astonishing to see how far we've fallen. Our best FDI showing was in 2011. 2011. The first FDI that came to Nigeria was in 1970. That was about 200 million, I believe. Then we had the record high $8.84 billion FDI inflow in 2011. To that as our 2022. We're doing less than maybe $1 billion. And Nigeria has always done $1 billion ever since we started to get FDIs in Nigeria. We've always done minimum $1 billion in FDIs. That was broken twice. Once, I believe, was in 2018. And I believe the other one was in 2022. Those are the only 2 years that Nigeria has not done at least $1 billion in FDI. If you look at the actual flow for Nigeria, you can see 2018, and I'm referencing the pinned chart. If you look at my pinned chart, you see the trend I put there. You see the green bars, which show you the 2021 FDI figure. It's gone down. There's a big jump in August 2021. Then it went all the less than $1 billion, right? Then you see 2022. These are the latest figures, guys, from the Nigerian Investment Promotion Council. I know one in 2024. These are the latest figures that we have. It's also gone down. If you look at that trend here, investment announcements from 2018 to 2022, same thing. High 2018 is very, very high, and it's come down from 18 all to 2021. Who has left Nigeria? Lots of big players have left Nigeria. The oil companies have pulled out in bulk from the onshore oil blocks. GlaxoSmithKline Beecham is out. Procter & Gamble out. Unilever has pulled out in their home care and skin clean division. They're out. Sanofi out. Bolt Foods out. More have left. These are the major multinationals that have left Nigeria in the last, say, 12 months. They've left Nigeria. So who has come in? You will struggle to find a major multinational name that has come to Nigeria. You will struggle to find. I know people have come in because the trade figures show inflow coming in. But in terms of a major multinational, you will struggle to find a name of someone that has come in to replace, say, Glaxo or Procter & Gamble. Lots of Indian companies, lots of Chinese companies are here, but they are doing trading. They're not investing in factories. And if they're investing in factories, we're not seeing the 1 billion mark yet. We know Nigeria is a big market for China, but we're not seeing it yet, right? So that's why we're having this topic. The data is not in question. We know FDI has fallen. We know that from the data, from the federal government data. The question is that are we still the preferred destination? And if we're not, then what's going on? And if we are, why isn't anyone coming in? So that's my opening speech, and it's right there. You can always refer to the data on there. If you have a comment, DM, or you want to speak, sure, request, I'll add you. And then we can have this debate together. But just to make the point again, guys, FDIs is what drives productivity. When you want to measure wealth, or you want to measure future wealth of a country, or how well the country is doing, you are measuring productivity. What's productivity? It's doing more with less. So, clear example for you, right? Before we had public buses, we used to walk around. Then you have an investment of, say, Leland Motors in Nigeria. And Leland Motors produces buses. Those buses now allow Nigerians to go further distances, to go to work, go to the farms without walking on their feet. So that's a productivity increase. And because of that productivity increase, you then create wealth. Farmers can bring more goods from the farms to the cities. Workers can go to work and go back home in time. Just an example for you how productivity works. The FDI is what brings in productivity. It's what brings in that technology. It's what brings in that investment capital. It creates jobs locally. It creates investments locally. And that's what the country then feeds off on. And again, it's not foreigners alone that do FDIs. If you look at the last report from the Nigerian Investment Promotion Council, Sokoto was leading in FDIs, or should we say investment into Nigeria, because Bua Cement did an investment in Sokoto. So that's also counted as investment. So it's not just foreigners, it's just counting investment, because it can be from Nigerians or from foreigners. Mark Donald, how are you doing, sir? Where are you calling from?
Hello. Well done, sir. I'm calling from Belgium.
How are you doing? How is Belgium? You guys you used to be one of our largest trading partners.
People trade exactly where they are secured. I'm sure there are a lot of uncertainties in Nigeria that's maybe scaring investors away, I believe.
So what's your take? Do you feel the investors want to come but are scared away by uncertainty, or you think the returns in Nigeria are not large enough? What's your take really on why the FDI is going down?
Exactly. The point is, when you have fluctuations, in the environment. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, of course. I can hear you. Go ahead.
Good. When there are fluctuations, these fluctuations amounts to uncertainties in every sphere of life. Nobody wants to do or put his money where he cannot project or he cannot calculate the future or the tomorrow. So these are scary indices in decision making, because assuming I want to invest in real estate, for instance, and I go to maybe I study an environment, maybe a state or a local government or wherever, and I find out that it's difficult to secure a C of O in such area. I'll be very skeptic about bringing my money there to such sector, because without a C of O, I can't guarantee that my investment is secured.
Interesting. So what
tomorrow? Tomorrow, government say they have right of way to demolish or to build whatever around that place. How am I going to get repaid? How am I going to get paid back? You understand the point? Now, when you talk of Nigeria as a scenario, I don't blame most of these foreigners, because some of them may not be Nigerians. Even though Nigerians can also answer FDI, because if you're a Nigerian and you've made your money abroad and you want to come back to invest in Nigeria, you will also be termed as FDI, is it not?
True, that's true, yeah.
Good. And most of these foreign investors, they don't know the terrain. They are new. They don't know the local politics and all that. This helps to maybe discourage them, because you have the basic background of the place. They are looking from the outside. They need a serious encouragement. They need a stable environment. They need stable policies. They keep studying the outlook of what goes on in the media, what they can see from the atmosphere, you understand, before they can make such decisions. And I don't blame them for being this scared, because over time, for the past, say, 10 years now, we've not had a very serious policy going on, because there are a lot of insecurity, because this insecurity is a major factor in the development of Nigeria. Because assuming somebody is interested in that sector, and we have a huge lot of arable land in the north, how are you going to come in there? And I'm sure some investors must have gone in that direction, but because of the insecurity in the north, they must have pulled out of that place. These are the problems. Nigeria right now, I can't see it as a destination until we see the confidence that will be given by this administration. That's the only way investors can say, because if it's market, Nigeria is a very huge market. A lot of Europeans, a lot of people want to come to Nigeria. But the problem is that uncertainty is the problem.
Let me ask you a question, Belgium. Just your sense of what you feel in Belgium. Do you think that Nigeria is mentioned? What's the perception of Nigeria in Belgium, if I could ask you that?
Well, the Nigeria is mentioned almost all the time because of our natural resources. Because destination, like where I work in a glass company, all right, and this glass company is owned by a Peruvian man, all right. Now, the raw material, which is the glasses, majorly comes from Brazil, and I'm sure Nigeria has a huge lot of sand that can also be manufactured, that also give us glasses.
Yeah, we have Silka in Katsina, in Kaduna, yeah.
Good. And apart from that, we have the workforce. So in terms of labor, you can get a very huge cheap labor in Nigeria. If you have the resources there, if you have the natural resources there, all you need to do is come build your plants and put your machineries on ground. Then the people that will man the machines will give you a cheap bargain.
Gotcha. So in effect,
in terms of government policies, we don't have it. Which is the enabling environment.
Yeah, I think that if I could speak to the government just for 5 minutes, I think we have lots of fantastic policies in Nigeria for investors, tax and investors. We have tax holidays. When MTN came to Nigeria, they did not pay tax for 5 years. We also have policies that say if you invest in a state or a local government or in a town that has no power supply, no road, no water, you can take that investment, right, and take it out of your taxes. So like if I go to my village and I invest and my village has no federal power, federal road or federal water, I can back out that investment as capital. I can back it out of my taxes. We also have a tax for infrastructure that says if you fix a road in Nigeria, you can also claim that money back as a tax credits to you. So what I'm trying to point out is that in terms of policies on paper, Nigeria has got excellent policies on paper. I think I agree with you completely. I think it's the translation of the policy on paper to reality. That's where we then sort of miss out, where we translate these great policies on paper to real life. The rule of law. I hear you talking about demolition of homes. I've seen a video now of homes in Mende in Lagos being demolished. And the lady was shouting that she was given 2 hours. I don't know how true that is. If they gave her 2 hours, I'm not sure the state would go there and demolish in 2 hours. But those homes, are they properly cited? Is the state in its right to demolish and all that kind of stuff? Those are questions you might ask. But I hear you, McDonald. You talked about business confidence, insecurity. Market is huge. People want to come, but they're not comfortable to invest capital. Yeah.
Now, Mr. Carlo, can I say one more thing?
Yeah, go for it.
You see, right now we have a infrastructure problem, huge infrastructure problem. All right, because we don't have good access roads. We can't even boast of power supply. You understand? And these two major points, or these two infrastructures, helps to bolster production. All right, because most of this, if the companies come in, they're not going to be in the cities. They'll be maybe in industrial clusters or in rural areas, or near to their raw materials. And now, after production, what next? How do they move their products into the cities where it will be consumed? All right. So they need this cheap transportation. If the roads are cheap, the transportation will be cheap. The cost of transportation will be cheap. If there is let me say municipal power supply, then the cost of power energy will also go a little bit lower, because if you start manufacturing your own energy, it's a bit higher in cost than when it's collectively done by the municipal. You understand? Now, if Nigerian government can actually guarantee some of these infrastructures, because some of these investors may not want to bring in huge amounts in first to get some of the infrastructures themselves. Like what you said now, that government have given waivers of when you build the road yourself, when you produce the energy by yourself and all that. Imagine that you tell them to, when they come, they will first of all build their roads, they first of all create their power supply, gas turbines or whatever, first, before they start producing, before they start recouping their money. No, none of them will come in such instance. You understand? But if you can be able to produce some, after a while, they can now help to expand it.
All right.
Like now, do you know that I live in my house is still in One. They have this fertilizer plant called Notori. All right, Notori have access to gas, but do you know that the whole of One community cannot enjoy power supply? Even the Notori itself, the Notori estate itself, cannot even run their gas turbine.
Why?
I don't know. There are problems of management. Now, because I'm sure one privatization of stuff, sometimes when this government do things, Nigeria has a complex problem that when you start analyzing it against you, they say they sell most of these businesses to private sector. Some of them, they put clause in the papers or in the arrangement. You find out that they are losing money every day, but nobody is doing anything in them.
Okay. All right.
Notori is a huge place. for both employment, both production rate, but it's not managed well. This is just one out of a whole lot. If you go to Akwa Ibom State, this is Koraba. That's it. That an aluminum company or there, and it's also down. Well, let me just listen.
Michael, yeah, thank you so much for the comments from Belgium. I mean, your points are well taken. Thank you so much for that. Let me get Millicent. Go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Good evening. Nigeria is a very difficult environment. This has been ongoing for years. If you look at Nigerian graph of growth, the graph has always been coming down since everybody on this space was born. I don't care how old are you. If you are 50, if you are 60, if you are 70, if you are 100, since you were born, the graph of growth has been coming down. The quality of governance has been coming down. The quality of political office holder has been going down. The quality of people on the street has been going down. Education has been going down. Security has been going down. Without people in end of affairs that can take rational decision, nothing is going to happen. If we are here, we will talk about it. We will learn from it. We that are illiterate, that did not go to school, we will learn from you people that are learned. But the facts will never change. If we don't have quality people leading the affairs of Nigeria, nothing is going to happen.
And listen,
Kalu that is championing this space. Kalu is ready. I don't know him. I've never met him before. We never really have any private chat, but I know for sure that Kalu is ready to help Nigeria in any capacity, free of charge, if they would listen. I, talking here, I'm ready to lend my little knowledge in any area, free of all charges, because Kalu is okay on his own. He can take care of his bill. I, talking here, I'm okay. My bill is no problem to me again. What else am I looking for? Where else do I want to go in the whole world? If you see the quality of decision these people are making.
Which people?
The political office holders.
Okay, let me ask you a question. I know you are an investor. I know you do bricks in Abuja. I know you are. Yeah, I know you are in the quote unquote in the know. Do you think, just in terms of, let me ask you two questions. In terms of policy, are you more comfortable today with the policies? Forget about the implementation, just the policies for now. Are you more comfortable with the policies for now? Before we talk about implementation, just the laws that have been passed from 10 years ago and today. Are you okay with that? Does it help your business?
Nothing. My business is in coma in the past 3 years just because of diesel.
Interesting.
So what policy again? when I can't afford to run my business profitably, if I can afford to pump money into it, but the product will be too expensive for the purchasing power of Nigerians right now. It's only some people that are very close to national cake that are able to build house right now. Those ones that are very, very close to national cake, they get crumbs from it. Some get large chunk from the national cake. Those are the people that can build house. Nobody can build house right now. Cement is 8,500. For a 3-bedroom house foundation, you will need at least 100 bags of cement. That is 850,000 naira right there, aside from transportation costs. You will need about 30 tons of granite. that is about 400,000 right now, if I'm not making a mistake. You will need about 40 tons of sharp sand. That is about 200. So a foundation, material alone for foundation of a 3-bedroom house, standard, not what people build, what we read in book. If you want to do what we read in book, a standard 3-bedroom house foundation will cost you not less than 2.5 million.
Just the foundation.
What is the salary? What is the minimum wage?
This is just the foundation.
Foundation alone.
Okay, so you've answered the policy in one sentence. You said diesel, so I suppose you mean that the regulation of diesel price has caused your cost to go up. That's your policy side. But operationally, maybe I know the answer to this, but operationally, is it better, is it easier for you to do business in Nigeria today than, say, 10 years ago?
It's more difficult. Not difficult. It's impossible.
Wow.
I import cars from here to Nigeria. The last time, on the average, I do 3 container load of cars and general merchandise. This business stopped in the last 3 years because when you ship your container today at certain rates, by the time it gets to Lagos port, the rates will change. The customers you've collected figure 10 from when the ship was leaving, you can't go back to them because of your integrity, because people know you on Twitter. You can't go back to them and say things has changed. I don't want anybody to make noise about me on Twitter. So I would rather lose part of my profit or lose the profit and get my capital back than to go back to you that, Mr. Kalu, what we agreed on 10,000 is now 11,000 because of custom duty changes. Okay, we get to the port. Before we load, everything is fine at the port. By the time container gets to the port, they tell you there's congestion. You have budgeted 250,000 to do offloading. Now they say they will take the container from so terminal to so terminal. It's going to cost 850,000. See the gap. So it's not possible. Anybody that is doing it, I'm sorry, maybe having something underground that we don't know. He's just using the business to show us that this is what he's doing. It's not possible. You can't run an hotel confidently.
So in essence, it's you use the word impossible, not hard. You use the word it's impossible to do business in Nigeria today.
It's a lie. If anybody tells you that it's possible, it's a lie.
I mean, my experience, I was in Nigeria and we paid for the hotel rooms, and I think the manager came around and told us, hey, we're not increasing your room rates, but we just can't buy diesel. So they wanted all the tenants to pay like a special diesel levy. And we just had to pay because the guy was like, we just can't afford it. It's not profit making. We just want to run the diesel for you guys. So I mean, that's all I hear what you're saying.
The thing is, the last thing I want to talk about today, perception. Perception is the currency or is the current, like electric current, that attracts foreign investors, either foreign or local investors. There is one notorious state that everybody is now saying, don't invest in that. They are saying it loudly. And if you see those voices, these are influential people that are saying it loudly that do not invest in that state.
Yeah, and you see, let me tell you a story, Miss Millicent. You know, I was in Montreal. I went to Montreal in Canada. I think I tweeted about it in Canada.
Yeah.
When you go to Montreal, you see a city that you can see that the city was very, very rich. You could see
vibrant in the past.
Yeah. Then you see it's a new city being built on an old city. So you see lots of new restaurants, lot of trendy bars. Then you go to the next street, the entire street is boarded up, it's closed. No one is there. So I asked them, so what happened? And they were telling me that a long time ago, Montreal had an election and the folks in Montreal elected this party, and they said everybody in Montreal, that no, in Montreal is English and French, Canada is English and French. They said now they want to make French not just a separate language, but the only language for business. So, like if you have a McDonald's, it has to be in French. The menu will be in French. If you're going to put English, very, very small characters. So anybody doing business in Montreal had to use French. That was the law. When that law was passed, all the English quote unquote people
moved out.
That's how Toronto, that's how all those other cities became, because Montreal has a port, it has everything, it has an old city. They moved out of Montreal. And when you talk to a local, they'll tell you, yeah, we went too far. These are the French people in Montreal. They'll tell you, we went too far. Because when they push people away, people went to Toronto, the government.
Yeah.
There's an article where the president of Canada, I think it was Trudeau's father, was telling the investors in Montreal not to listen to the local party, but to stay in Montreal, because that local party will lose elections soon. But before that could happen, that they left. So all the English guys left Montreal. And the places, if you go there, you see the Central Bank, you see lovely buildings empty. The former Royal Bank of Montreal building is now a mall. It's beautiful. It's not that it's run down. It's empty. No one is there. You see lots of beautiful places. No one is there. So, and again, I used to analogy again. New York has the largest concentration of billionaires in America. New York is now losing billionaires to Florida and Texas. Why? Taxes. And the New York people are complaining to the guys, don't drive us out. Once billionaires go, capital is mobile. It's hard to bring them back. So people look at it and say, like, the Montreal guys would have said, no, but if you leave Montreal, where will you go to? If you leave Montreal, where will you go to? The same way it happens everywhere. Every empire dies when liquidity dies. When people that have money go, look at Rome.
Yeah.
For many years, they were the richest nation on earth. Then they went into corruption. Then when the rich left and started to go to the east, because remember, the Roman Empire was two empires, the Eastern Roman Empire and the Western Roman Empire. They all went to the Eastern Empire, Constantinople. And then the Western Roman Empire got run over by barbarians, the Germans and the French, and that took over Rome. My history is correct. So the point I'm making is this: don't base policy based on today. Don't say, Yorubas have a saying: be careful of what you do when you are hungry, because hunger will come tomorrow. They have a saying, and I find it very poignant. So be very careful what you do today because you are hungry. So you say, oh, I was hungry, so I sold my birthright. Because there'll be hunger tomorrow. So be very careful of the statements you make because you are, quote unquote, the top kid on the block.
Do you come across a tweet, one essay of one agriculture, whatever, made about one woman that is very, very influential? The SSA of agriculture somewhere in Abuja was telling Lagos State, one commissioner in Lagos State, to go and look at that woman's documents so that we can pull down our house. I
saw that tweet. Let me explain the tweet for people.
Perception.
You have a government minister, a government funded individual was telling the Lagos State government to go and inspect the house of a citizen of Nigeria,
yes,
with the intent of demolishing the house because the lady spoke up against the state.
Somebody.
This is a federal government employee. It's not that he
perception has gone.
Yeah, it's not that he tweeted it, but he had the confidence to tweet it out.
No, if he has not been hearing that from the Oga in main offices,
then he would
have such confidence
to tweet it out. Yeah, I saw that tweet.
What we call conformity.
I was amazed. That
is what goes on within their camp. He wouldn't have confidence to say it out if he has not been hearing it from its gas.
Okay.
Perception. That damage is, if they want to repair that damage, they are putting all efforts every day, every minute. They employ world-renowned consultant, image maker. Bro, it's going to take 100 years to fix that damage that was done pre-election, post-election, and right now to that state perception, especially in property development world, sector. And same thing, the whole country perception. We elected somebody to be the CEO. The CEO has filed with all the world-renowned law enforcement agencies. Perception. You have damaged it again. You need another 100 years to fix it. Perception.
Well said, sir. Let me bring Olumide to give us the sort of the numbers, figures, the economic part of the discussion. Olumide, I mean, you hear what we're talking about. Is Nigeria still the preferred destination for FDIs? I know you are heavy into that crypto space. I'm not sure if you can talk if there's been a reaction to the Nigerian government or the CBN putting crypto as now a national security risk. Olumide, I'm not sure if that is good, if that is bad. I mean, I have my view, but I just want to get your take on that, Olumide. Not just on crypto, but generally as a whole in Nigerian investing. What's your take on Nigeria, Olumide? If you could unmute, please.
Yeah, big and high. Very interesting conversations as usual, and I really just wanted to add some color. You said a lot, and honestly, I'm on the same page as you are most times. It's just that you have a way of putting it in the picture where you can make the average Nigerian understand, and that's where you really unique at. I really just look at the numbers and just send it out to those that we have years to year, and I don't try to make it more or as simple as you do. But the conversation, the theme, definitely, like you said, if you look at the graph, FDI, particularly from the Obasanjo dispensation, it has been a stupid graph. But I disagree with some speakers that when they highlighted that on the slope. No. If you look at the years from Abacha to Obasanjo, I just don't have the figures right now. If you look at the years from Obasanjo.
Only there's on the pin tweet. If you look at my pin tweet, I pinned from 1960 to 2022. And you're correct, it's been down, up. It's from we had zero from 1960 to 1970. From 1970, when we got our first FDI, Nigeria has always, at the minimum, brought in 1 billion. So even if we don't do anything, we collect our 1 billion and go to sleep. So you are correct. But the data is on my pin tweet. You see a trend there, guys, in case you want to follow. Yeah. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So we have an FDI issue. And, one of the blessings of this floating exchange system we have is that it has exposed some of the wastage and past mistakes of different administrations. Right now, we really see the reaction on the FX market during the Emefiele era, while many of us couldn't see it, despite concerns by a lot of points, because the rates were on the fixed. So while government was subsidizing PT, unnecessary expenses and borrowing record deficit, now it looked like it was stable. But when the incoming administration came in and all hell was let loose, we now saw the true reflection of the situation. So in the crypto side, you see, I think I did a story today, and I wrote that President Tinubu should keep his words, and on his manifesto, because when during the election, he was the only one that particularly spoke about crypto, and surprisingly, because that's the space I cover, I dug deep and I was like, well, interesting. Let's say I was a bit skeptical as his arrangement, but the fact that he mentioned it, was something that I was looking. So when he came to power, and a few weeks he set up, we saw that the blockchain policy got the green node. Within some months, the banks, as of December 20, the CBN exchange their stance to the Security Commission. We felt that things were going well, but now drama came in, and the security agenda of the country became paramount, which was understandable. But the issue is that it has weakened because, I've been to like 4 global blockchain conferences around the world, and I can tell you that it doesn't sound well for a lot of people. Though I saw Quidax in Paris, and that was the first time I was seeing Nigerian crypto exchange coming to that platform, because it's a very expensive platform to be with. And I think one of the good things about that was that a lot of Europeans were like, "Oh, what do you guys really do?" Despite the fact that Quidax is quite popular in Africa. So, that kind of enthusiasm, hope that I saw Quidax was translating that well. At some point, since we have a proactive government in the crypto space, it will translate to, until we now saw the NSA, we saw Cardoso, we saw key officials say some stuff, then came in restrictions from the banks. They were technical about it. The CBFS denied it, and fintechs came out like that. No, we don't want you to even deal with it after meeting with the CBN. So clearly, what happens is that definitely we've seen a stall in investment in crypto space. But the crypto industry itself has not done a good job, because we have some illicit dark actors that really complicate or makes the legitimacy of the industry quite difficult. I must tell you the honest truth. But having said that, if you look at data, because I think on my article that I wrote to the president, illicit transaction is just negligible in the space. We have a lot of hard workers, and I tried to make the president understand that, see, there are reasons why Nigerians like crypto. It's not just for the speculatory tendency. If you look at our brothers in the East, for example, many of them don't have access to the Standard Chartered, to the Stanbic, to the City. If you look at FX, if you look at capital importation data in 2023, most of the top banks are special banks or investment banks. City brought in $1 billion. If you look at other entities that had that exposure, they were specialized banks like RMP, which you don't see in any part apart from Lagos. So most of our brothers in the East use some of these coins for trade. And that's why it's like, you just really need to understand the peculiarity of each problem. So yeah, it's been a very sad, but there's some things I want to say that I think the tables are changing. If you look at the financial industry, for example, I think investment is coming on the rise. And that was one of the places Cardoso brought in when he said banks will capitalize and he was not going to focus on retaining any. Chinese bank just closed a $20 million deal from the Saudi multinational bank, and definitely that was because the ICE was looking at capitalizing, and it came in form of equity. So that's some form of investment, and we see many of these banks also looking at raising capital offshore. So I think sector by sector, I think financial sector is growing, and that was why today I listed some of the captains in our industry that are making Nigerian financial sector look like a cheat code. But we have the problem of intellectual capacity and character imperialism in other sectors, which I don't want to mention, and that really has really prompted FDIs. Look at some states in Nigeria, for example, a state like Ogun State, that despite being close to Ogun State and Lagos State, some of them, the latest data show that they bought about $1 million plus, while about 27 states could not bring in time. Yes, because some people say that Lagos is domiciled in Kano, but not many banks are domiciled in Lagos. Maybe that's why the data sometimes. But when I break into data, I saw that inactivity by many of these establishments has really partly been responsible for poor MTI. And I think I'll close with this. We have a political problem. We have a political problem where we mentioned New York, Texas, California. These are states that take FDI investment seriously. Apart from the State Department, you could see that their core mandates, particularly in countries attracting APC as a KPI. In Nigeria, states don't see it as a KPI. Nigerian states see park allocation, building airports, and other goods projects as KPI. So these are some of the problems we're facing in the entity. But like I said, you cannot throw the baby with bathwater. So the financial sector seems to be leading the way properly, and I hope it translates to other sectors.
Well, let me take you back to the states. Yeah, let me talk about Lagos State, and after I go to crypto. I know which one should do first. Let me start with crypto because you mentioned it. So it said President Bola Tinubu as a candidate promised that was going to side in quotes with crypto. He came into office, he did allow crypto. We saw the regulation of virtual currencies. Now they've banned it. It's not just banned, it's a national security issue. So if you are seen with crypto and police grab you, man, you're in a lot of trouble. So that's where we are. So the question really is that, do you think that this back and forth? I know there was a time that there was this big crypto exchange that was in Nigeria trying to get a license. This back and forth, does it hurt us in terms of that policy inconsistency is now the problem? Do you see that bleed through of the crypto ban and unban bleeding into FDIs in general? Let's start with that, and I'll go to Lagos State if you can.
Okay, so to answer you, investment into the crypto industry, I see definitely a moderation has been tested. I could recall when I spoke to some investors, particularly massive projects, when I was at Binance conference in Paris 2022, and what they were just telling me was that, well, let's wait till the CBN relax restrictions by banks, because they would definitely want to deal with financial institutions. And I was positive that that would change, but that wasn't coming, and many of these businesses have pushed up on that. But, the truth of the matter is that it's not just a Nigerian thing, because I got a message from my friendship bank some weeks back that, they know I have some exposure in crypto and things like that. So I hope I don't mix things with their institution. They don't want to deal with crypto. And I was like, yeah, I know the rules, definitely. But that kind of message kept me. So, banks are looking at entities that have significant presence in that space. So it's not just Nigeria. It's not just Nigeria, to be honest. But what makes Nigeria very different is that the French has many options. The French has a viable fintech community and much more sophisticated financial system where a lot of French people can do without USDT. But it's not the case in Nigeria. What bank highlights the fact that remittance is one of the most expensive things you can see in Africa, and that's because of official channel costs and things like that. Mm-hmm. So the option for the average Nigerian is lower. So I think why its options are limited, and we have a very young population where Nigerians are very attracted to Western technologies. I think for me, what the government, and that's why I went to the president, I see you can strike a balance, and this is what you do. You can remember what happened in the 90s where the First Bank and your bank were the alpha and omega of our financial industry. Mm-hmm. But when Ajona and Jimovia came up with using technology and efficiency into our banking system, it all looked like, in fact, many of the traditionalists thought that, there's no how these guys will take over. But, Obasanjo and the financial administration of that time encouraged young players, and that's why today you see that the most valuable bank is either between GT or sometimes Zenith or sometimes GT. So because those systems allowed young players to bring in innovative products, we can see how it has played. So the problem here is that we don't have a system where young players can play fairly. Yes, we have a couple of errant or erratic youngsters, but the truth of the matter is that we've seen people that have built solid projects. I was talking to my audience this morning when I listed the strength of the captains, and I mentioned Sulaiman, and I said blockchain and technology. Some people are trading me for it, and because of ignorance, a lot of people don't know that Sulaiman have worked in Accenture. Sulaiman was an advisor of Bantu blockchain. Sulaiman has worked with Interstellar, a blockchain that does things with internet and things. And the reason why I know these things is because I don't just read stories. I dig deep about people that matter in my industry. So, if the average Nigerian doesn't even know what Sulaiman does in this space, despite his exposure in the system, what is the problem? And the problem is because you're doing a beautiful job every Sunday, bringing out. But the truth of the matter is that many Nigerians are not interested in knowing things that really matters, except things that if it's not deep prayer, if it's not music, if it's not true, you're gossiping about. These are issues also that is really, because the difference between then and now, I can tell you, is that our parents then were more business inclined. The interest of business, despite the fact they didn't understand what business was I mean, in principle, because many of them, some of them are career oriented,
Yeah,
not more better. But the truth of the matter was that they had a year for business. But now, the youth, it's now different blocks. We have young Nigerians interested in the sector, but you can't really, finance is not something that an interesting subject, which makes me worry, because many people don't even know what the captains of the industry are really doing and how they're making things to work. So how do you pass that message? And when you pass that message, sometimes people throw it for it. So we have a problem also in dissemination of information across.
Gotcha. I hear you. Okay, good. I get your point on that, but I think your answer was yes, that it has that Tinubu's backtrack on crypto really would bleed into the normal FDI. I get the point. So on that, but let me just talk about Lagos State, for instance. It's easy to call out Lagos State and say Lagos State is should we say, what's the word now? Is it elitist? Is that going to be the word? But Lagos State has just built a deep sea port in Lekki. So that's the first and only deep sea port in Nigeria. What a deep sea port means, let me give you the implication of a deep sea port. The ships that come to Africa, there's no ship that should load stuff in America or Europe that is just coming to Nigeria. It doesn't work that way. They are coming to Africa and maybe to Asia. So they load Nigeria, Senegal, Congo, all in the ship. They sell to Nigeria. If you have a deep sea port, they prefer it because they don't have to come inshore. They go on the deep sea, offload for Nigeria, and then they move on. So that deep sea port is going to attract even more cargoes than even your normal ports in Apapa, Tinkan, because it's easier for them, so they prefer it. So Lagos has got a deep sea port. Lagos got that deep sea port by investing 20%. They didn't invest money, they invested land. The Singapore guys came in and invested the rest, and they built that deep sea port. So it's like an FDI, and Lagos is going to, of course, enjoy that benefit going forward. I look at a state like Akwa Ibom, has the money, has the coast to also do a deep sea port. Why haven't they done their deep sea port in Akwa Ibom? So the whole issue of everything is concentrated in Lagos. Why in the other states? I picked Akwa Ibom because they have the money. Other states want to do it but don't have the money. But Akwa Ibom has the money, they haven't done it. Let's come to the coastal road project that we're doing in Lagos. It's going from Lagos all the way to Calabar. I've tweeted it before, and I've said it clearly. That road is being built at this time in that location from where it is to benefit a specific company. I've tweeted it. I will say it without hiding. That road is very important to Nigeria. A coastal road is called a coastal road because you are bypassing all built up areas. The coast is where you don't have homes because it's near the beach. So you go to the coast and then you build a super highway. If you look at most countries that have coastal highways, that's what they build on the coast. Coastal highways, you build so you can just race on that coastal highway, take your goods inwards. There is no express road. Hear my word, there's no express road in Nigeria from the west to the east of Nigeria. There is no express road. The nearest you have is Lagos Ibadan or Lagos to Benin. That's not an express road. That's a 4-lane road. There is no express. Lagos State has an express road from Apapa to Ojota. Ikorodu Road, 10 lanes. Ikorodu Road is 10 lanes from Apapa to Ojota. There is no express road in Nigeria from the east to the west. The bulk of the trade in Nigeria happens east to west. Simple. Crude oil, gas, everything goes east to west, but there is no road. So a coastal road is very important. But what have we done? We've converted our coastal road now to some sort of like, let me build up the equity of one particular sector. If we really wanted a coastal road, we could have done it. Look at Nigeria, it's a Niger Delta. Where do you build that coastal road in the creeks? With the bridges, with the sand fillings, where would it be built? Have we done the EIA to get this thing to say this is what we need? Or we just threw this money and we're going to start, then we build and then we stop at the border of Lagos and then that's it. Then this becomes like there's a current east-west road that has been abandoned. We have abandoned the east to west road. We have abandoned the east to west railway. Now we have started a brand new coastal east to west coastal road. And all these two infrastructure projects have been abandoned for the same reason: lack of planning, lack of funds to get this done. So when we talk about FDI, we're talking about the infrastructure to get this done. If we wake up and we throw $1 trillion to the east-west road, that's a pittance. It's going to get to the border of Lagos and it's going to stop there. Mark my words. Because there is no way you can build with $1 trillion a road through the creeks that need bridges, through swamps. There is no way. So what's the rush? Why are we rushing today? Why haven't we done a global infrastructure capital raise, Olumide, to raise money from the diaspora? If you go to the Niger Delta and you tell those folks that, okay, Akwa Ibom, all this, they're all oil states. All of you bring $1 billion. All of you, Akwa Ibom, Edo, all those, bring $1 billion. And we're going to build this 10-lane road. They will bring the money. If they have to borrow, they will borrow. If they have to forgo their FARC in dollars, they will bring it. Why aren't we doing that to build the infrastructure with an attractive FDIs?
Okay, good question. Leave the politics. I'm just looking at the economic implications here. I'm not a good political analyst, and I will not want my bias to play on any sides. So my guess is that, when you look at Dangote refinery, and you look at the fact that the space Lagos states in terms of traffic and trade, the presidency is looking at connecting that hub and creating some form of diversion. Because if you look at the cities it's going to connect and how it's going to expand that corridor, well, it has a good. But you see, the only issue I have with the progress is that, it has raised a lot of suspicions, political suspicions, tribal suspicion, social. So it has not made the project leave out of good fit. And that's why I really don't talk much about it. But for free, I think if you look at Lagos itself, I think the problem we have is that the states and the regions are being the major problem. I recall when Dangote wanted to start the refinery first, Lagos was not his first choice. I recall when some businesses wanted to create, Lagos was not really, and the reason was not because they had issues with Lagos, because they wanted to be close to closeness and the topography of Lagos, the congestion and things like that. But you could see the way the systems in Lagos really grabbed advantage and took and was ready and gave that support. We don't see those things in other states, Carlo. See, you were talking, I listened to you carefully and I look at the way, at least I've known you for quite some time. I know you speak with passion, you speak with so much interest. We don't see these things in many states, Carlo, to be honest with you. When Rufai, despite his personal ideology in many quarters, was the governor of Kaduna, we saw uptick in FDIs. Why? Primarily because of the incentives he created in that space. And, while he has gone, we've seen the moderation in the FDI. So the truth of the matter is that people will really go where they are comfortable in. And that's why I'm really very worried. The present governor of Abia State is really doing a fantastic job in terms of attracting it here. And he has shown that he's not building competition here. You could see that he lives across all political parties, all different tribal, and that is how governance is all about. And you could see that despite the fact that he doesn't come from the party of the president, he has been able to run certain things successfully. And that is why I said that, see, you could throw the numbers and you say, yes, you have genuine cause why this was. I solely agree with you. But the truth of the matter is that people are really even fighting for, are they really ready? And the question is that, the right is that they aren't. That's the truth.
Just so the point is not lost to them. I am saying Lagos State is doing their own work. They are attracting FDIs because they are strategically building infrastructure to attract investment. And I'm saying that even this coastal road they are doing, even if we can argue that it is political, they are doing their own work. They are showing their own evidence in doing it. I am now asking the other states, why can't you guys come together and do something? The other states combine half more money than Lagos State. Akwa Ibom, Edo, Rivers, combined have more money than Lagos State. Why aren't they the ones saying, okay, Lagos, the federal government, this is what we'll do. We're going to build the coastal road and we want to take our payment from FAC. You will not take our payment from FAC for the next 20 years. Why aren't they doing it?
Wastage. Look at the state in South South. I don't want to call names. They spent the budget allocation of 7 billion naira on event management.
Interesting.
Put 2 billion on education.
Okay.
So how do you convince investors of that kind of growth?
Okay.
Apart from the South, where we've seen educational growth in terms of performance for students, we've seen underinvestment in all areas, including Lagos. But you see, the key thing about Lagos here is that the infrastructure from the private side and the public side is much better than the other side. Doesn't mean that Lagos doesn't also have its problems.
True.
Yes,
True.
I agree with you. But I'm on the fact that the only way we can take, and because it's a bad thing when Lagos takes all the shine from Nigeria. It's not even, it has security implications. God forbid. Why do you think the United States, for example, will definitely allow the allocation of key states? Because if you attack just one state, that's the end. If you take Lagos away from Nigeria, we are just in trouble. And that shouldn't be the case. We should have, for example, we should have Anambra in the east, we should have Kaduna in the north, we should have FCT in the center, we should have Lagos. Connect those zones.
Let me say this again. The only states in Nigeria that have got 10-lane expressways are Lagos and Abuja. I'm not sure if in that state, I'm not sure if Akwa Ibom has a 10-lane, but Lagos and Abuja, these are both built by the federal government. Federal government, not state. Federal government, Lagos and Abuja. Now, just to end this point very quickly, the states with the largest FDI to date, largest foreign direct investment to date. Guess what state it is? It's between two states. It's not Lagos. Guess which state it is? Kaduna. Which project they still plans $700 million. I'm not sure why it's number one. I assume the Lagos port was more than Kaduna one. Maybe the accounting that Lagos only invested 20%, I'm not sure. But the Kaduna steel mill is listed as the largest single FDI in Nigeria in recent times. There's a steel plant in Kaduna. It's about $700 million. It's built the same way Ajaokuta was built. But this one was built to use Nigerian iron ore. Ajaokuta, I know what they built there. So the one in Kaduna will produce steel before Ajaokuta produced steel. So anyone telling you that Ajaokuta is going to work is just wasting his time. Kaduna has shown, this is the point I was making with Ajaokuta forever and ever. You can build smaller, faster steel plants. $700 million. Ajaokuta is $8 billion. $8 billion. We don't even have the furnace in Ajaokuta. Kaduna is $700 million. So if we over the years built 2 or 3, all Kaduna is building, we would have been making steel today. But let me go to Agogo, my good friends in Canada.
Sorry, please. Can I ask a quick question, please? Just a quick question. Please, which one is cheaper and faster to deploy in transportation, land? I want to say land or water transportation, because I look at Lagos and other states in the coastal region. Which one is easier, less expensive, and faster to invest in? Water transportation or coastal road?
No, road can take more than coastal. That's the problem. Coastal is cheaper, but road can carry more. Road can carry more because to carry, if you want to carry diesel, how many ships will carry that diesel? So it's cheaper for ships to bring harbor, but the road can carry more. Road and rail. So they want to build the coastal is road and rail. There is no connection in Nigeria that is an express road between the east and the west of Nigeria. It's atrocious. None. You have one 4-lane or 6-lane from Lagos to maybe Edo. Then you have Owerri. You have just patches of good roads. Excellent roads. They're very, very poor. Have you seen the Edo road that the ship is capsized? Not capsized. So we've got to get serious about infrastructure in Nigeria. You've got to get serious about it. We're how old? We're 1960. From 1999 to date, my brother, we haven't completed the Lagos to Ibadan Express Road. From 1999 to date. They will tell you it's 99% complete, but it's not complete. China will not spend 1999 to date to build a road from Lagos to Ibadan. Not with Rwanda, not with Ghana, not with Cote d'Ivoire. No country on earth will spend from 1999 till 2024 to build a road from Lagos to Ibadan. The most important road in Nigeria is Lagos to Ibadan. We still haven't done it. So it's crazy. My Canadian sister, please go ahead. You heard our discussion, right?
To add to what you're saying about Montreal, it was the party called the Bloc Québécois. They were trying to enforce French, so they were it was kind of a nationalist movement, right? So a lot of people started leaving, and at some point, those of us that were still in school in Nova Scotia, the Bloc Québécois were now coming to recruit us to come study French. It was free at that time when I went to school in Nova Scotia. When we graduate, they would literally come and tell us, come to Quebec, we'll train you to learn French and everything. When FDIs started declining. Anyways, Lagos should be prepared because Antigua is going to compete with Lagos. Because what I saw recently, Air Peace is going to start a direct flight from Lagos.
Where's Antigua? So
when my husband I followed my husband when he was doing work in Antigua, and they were really interested in the Nigeria and everything, and they were saying, come buy real estate, beachfront, 100,000, we'll even give you a golden passport, right? So, but they're not taking politically exposed people. So if you're a politician, they're avoiding politically exposed people, but they realize that their diaspora that has money, they want to buy real estate. They want to be an environment that is Black-oriented, right? And they are now looking towards rich Nigerians in the diaspora. So I'm telling people in the diaspora, those of you that want to buy something back home, you are scared, you don't think it's time for you to put your money in real estate, go to Antigua. If you don't have citizenship,
where's Antigua? Where's Antigua? Where's Antigua? That's in Caribbean, Abi?
Yeah, it's in the Caribbean.
It's far.
And I saw Air Peace recently was going to do direct flight from Lagos to Antigua. So instead of you buying $600 million land in Lagos, go to Antigua. You buy a beachfront property, right? For less than that, you get a golden passport. Antigua passport you can get into England for free because they're still British colonies, right? So, and on the weekends, you just come to Lagos and do what you need to do because there's going to be direct flight between Air Peace and Antigua coming soon.
So who are you speaking to now? Are you speaking
to Nigerians in the diaspora and other Nigerians that have excess cash? You have disposable income and you're looking to invest in real estate.
You are going to put me in trouble,
Am I? I don't know. I don't care. It's just investment opportunities. I'm telling you, right?
Okay.
Because why invest in a place that has no rule of law?
Your home. You should care.
No. Let her say her own.
I'm Canadian.
Let her say her own. Then anybody can say his own. Yeah.
Can he mute?
Flight. Please go ahead. Please. Let her say her own. You can come and also market your own.
Listen to me. I have a land in Lagos. Was one of the people who invested in real estate in Lagos. I was supposed to build. I put my money together, okay? After election, I went to Toronto and I bought myself a condo and put tenants in there. Why would I put my money where I don't feel like there's rule of law? Do you guys see what is going on? And you think we in the diaspora don't see it? We see it, sweetheart. We see it. So what I'm just trying to tell Nigerians with 600 million, and you want to buy real estate, beachfront, Antigua, they will give you a golden passport. I sign off. Peace out, Carlo. Thanks.
Okay, who do we bring in here? I am Ariel Lua. Let me bring you in. I think you've heard the lady from Canada, a good sister of mine, saying that Nigerian diaspora that got funds should not invest in Lagos. So that means not invest in Nigeria, but go to Antigua, invest in real estate in Antigua. You get a golden passport to the UK, and you also come to Nigeria for the weekend. What's your take? I know you're into real estate. What's your take? Does she have a point? This is FDI we're talking about. Should you say don't invest in Nigeria? What's your take?
Thank you, Mr. Carlo. I respect her opinion, but I strongly disagree. Good evening, everyone listening to me. What happened in Lagos State is a sad story. What happened in Lagos State is not encouraging. What happened in Lagos State is not nice to behold. But one part that we fail to also listen to or be sincere with ourselves with is the fact that many of those guys bought a lie. They didn't buy real estate. They bought a lie. Because for you to buy real estate, the person that is selling it must have the power to transfer it to you. So if they don't have the power to transfer it to you, there's no transaction. What happened was a lie. And the lie was perhaps sustained by some, how do I put it now, dubious government officials, which I have also joined people to say, bring them to book. That is number one thing that I need to say. Number two thing that I want to say is this. We might want to place down or anything, regardless of whatever is happening right now. It's a teaching moment for everybody. And I think we need to address that. Because if we don't address that, it's like we have a wound and we are not treating it. If you want to invest in Nigeria, precisely Lagos, you need to understand how real estate works. That when somebody sells real estate to you and they give you a receipt and they give you survey plan and they give you contract of sale, you have not bought real estate until you get the title deed. When you get title deed, accession, gazette, CFO, and all of those, then we cannot talk about, okay, you have real estate. And when you have that, in Lagos, they insist you must get approvals before you build. It's a process. You need to follow it. And this happened in every city. I did in South Africa, guys. And in one of the plans, I put a door where I was supposed to put a window. It was my white neighbor that called the listing on me that this guy is building, come check it. And they came and I, okay, so the plan, okay. And they were looking at it like, no, guy, you have to replace this. If you do not replace this, we won't approve this building. What am I trying to say? It's not as if it's a Nigerian thing. It's every city thing. They pull down structures that are illegal. It's everywhere. So that's it.
Also, let me take can I take you up on that before you continue? So I think the issue is not that people don't know this process you're talking about. In Lagos, you buy from the family, then you go to allow and regularize. I think it's a point that the land is regularized, then it's pulled down.
I'm aware of that. So I'm trying to create a background for my next point, which is, if you now want to invest, do it right. And when you not do it right, let's look at what Goldman Sachs says. It says in 2100, right, what is going to happen to Lagos? It projects that about 100 million people will be living in Lagos. That's the projection. What does that tell you? You want to compare that to Antigua? Which country in Africa do you want to compare that to? The place that gives crazy return on real estate as we speak across Africa right now is Lagos.
There's no let me
is the most risky.
Okay, let me take you on that. What's the return in Lagos, real estate in Lagos? It's not up to what you get from buying a stock. It's not 10%.
Okay, in real estate, right? It's not about the quoted price. Once the price is listed, you're already buying it expensive. When you buy cheap.
No, what I'm saying is that
can I quickly comment?
What I'm saying that the return on Lagos is not. Agbo, hold on. Let's have decorum.
I'm speaking, it's my turn.
I hear you. Let's have decorum.
Can you please respect me for that?
Okay. Well, I'm just trying to find. What you said made a comment that return in Lagos property was high. I'm just saying that it's not. What return? Is it return on dividend or rental income or the appreciation in the land?
Yes, I'm talking about rental. I'm talking about land banking.
There's no return in rental. Rental is.
But precisely right now, short term is the most profitable.
Correct. So now you're clarifying, because if you say short term rental, that's where the money is. But rent in Lagos there's no money there. It's less than 10%.
No, I'm talking about short term.
Okay, please continue. I'll go in, but okay, just continue. I'll bring her in.
Okay, thanks.
Real quick, sir.
It's short term, and the reason being that when you invest now, it has to be through a system of understanding that you may not largely get the return immediately now because of what it now takes, what it now involves. Okay, but if we are thinking generationally, if we are thinking how cities are built and how wealth are actually created, then you will understand the need to pick Lagos over any country that has been mentioned here. I don't want to go into that. But in my final submission,
let me ask you a question.
The reason why I came up,
Go ahead.
The reason why I came up is to ask you a question. We are aware of these challenges. We are aware of this mess. We are aware of the demarketing that has happened, of the mess, the political mess, everything. We are aware. But in spite of all of this, this is our country. The question that I want to ask everyone that is on this platform, especially you, Mr. Kanu, is what can we do? How can we fix this?
That's what my brother,
what can we really do
every day. My brother,
get people to understand how to invest in real estate. Thank you.
Every day we talk about what we should do. Every day on my timeline, put this number 2 and the number 1. Go through my timeline. I write for Nairametrics every week. I post on my timeline. I do spaces. I do YouTube. I do interviews. I'm always giving solutions. If I attack, I give solutions. So that is me personally. Olumide is here. Olumide is a paid guy. If you want to talk to Olumide, you pay him. He's here. I'm not paying him. He's giving his own for free. But let me ask you a question. Just take your second point. You said that there is no country on earth that the diaspora should invest. Let me give you a story. I know a guy that was in the United Kingdom about 15 years ago. United Kingdom. This guy went and bought land in Lekki. When he bought land in Lekki, there was a beach. It was open. There was no one there. They built the road, the quote-unquote road behind his house. He imported a tent from South Africa, put the tent on the beach that he owned. He owned the land there, put the tent there and did an event center. That event center blossomed. He took a bank loan, he built the bathrooms, he built parking, he built lights, he continued to blossom. He went to New York. He went to UK to private equity firms. He raised about $25 million initially. He invested. He raised about. I'm going to mute you. Can you mute? I think yes, back. This guy raised in total about $100 million and invested in Nigeria because he heard, of course, he's a diaspora. He's Nigerian. He heard that the ROI in Lagos was the highest in Africa. He invested. Listen, he raised money. So which he had to convince foreigners to say, I'm going to invest in Africa, not just in Africa, in Nigeria, not just in Nigeria, in Lagos, not just in Lagos, in Lekki. He ticked all the boxes you have ticked out. This guy was given 7 days before his building was demolished. Not the building, the beach. 7 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. An international guy came back to Nigeria, built something on the beach. They said, oh, he owns the land, not the beach. If he doesn't own the beach, he can't build what he was building. The whole attraction of Daytona Beach is the beach. Go to Florida, the whole attraction of the hotels is the beach. If you take away the beach, you've taken away that thing that makes that investment worth $250 million. It's like taking away a Rolls Royce, take away the tires, the engine, and the body, and you say, well, if you still have a car, we'll put Volkswagen engine in the Rolls Royce. So I'm not sure you can speak on that. I'm not, because you're not the government.
I got that. In 1 minute, can I respond to you in 1 minute?
Go ahead. Okay,
quick. Thank you. Here's the thing. All right, it's quite unfortunate, but I put it to you, and I stand to be corrected by actual auditing of that process. That sometimes the people that get these notices do not give it to the people that they are supposed to give it to.
Speak specifically to the guy I spoke about. He got a notice in 7 days. Speak specifically.
You may not give him the notice.
No, he got the notice.
The notice for 7 days.
No, he got the notice. I'm giving you first-hand information. He got the notice. It was an April Fool joke. First-hand. Go ahead.
Okay. That I would say would love to cross-check though, but that's a case study to pick up. But one thing I needed to say is that we need to understand that we need to push this as something that has to be done and drum it to the hearing of the government. And I believe, like you're saying, Ayabimenti is building something in East London, in South Africa, close to the beach, and he bought it because of that, you get, and it's been given access to it, you get. So what you are saying is correct. We need to make that happen, right? However, it now needs to be a part of the agreement of the sale against the current existing law that are there. And all of those things, we need to now fight to make it a reality. Laws are made for men, and not men
you're
for
not
men.
answering the question.
We
You're
need
not answering the
to
question.
unitedly do this.
Bro.
That's where I want to stop. Thank you.
You know, you said, he said a lot of things, but he didn't really answer my question. He said the FDI, the diaspora should come to Nigeria. I gave an example. The guy that came to Nigeria raised 100 million to Nigeria, invested in Nigeria, not just Nigeria, in Lagos, invested in Lagos. Now, let me give you an example. Let me make it home. You know, there's no 7-Up in Nigeria. You guys know 7-Up in Nigeria. 7-Up is on the path of the express road was supposed to pass through 7-Up in Nigeria. But the 7-Up had already gone there. And the government said, this is our land. So what will the government do? There's 7-Up there, and they want to build a road that will benefit the whole of Lagos. You know what the government did back then? Beggar did. They built a flyover. Back then, flyovers were like modern thing. Don't look at it now that everybody can build flyover. Back then, a flyover was a very, very unique, very modern thing. So they built a flyover in Ijora, so you have that 7-Up underneath. I tell you today, if Julius Berger was in charge of that project, they would have found a way to build that road, the coastal road, and that guy will still have his speech. I'm not an engineer. I don't know how they would do it, but they would have done it. That beach will be there, and the road will be there. Olemide, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to add some things to that perspective. So first, I listened to our sister, but you see, the key issue I had with our submission was marketizing Nigeria. I understand that businessmen are in to make money, and despite the fact that some of us were not even born in the country, our parents are Nigerians, and if you have 3-4 passports, the donation or the blood or the historical relationship still comes back home. So it's required, to always put that in mind. I understand that it's risky doing business in Lagos. In fact, and if you look at when I talk about real estate, some of these guys told me that it's like I don't like real estate. And the question is because of the kind of people in the space. And I've always called on the federal government and the state actors to regulate that space, because sometimes when you listen to the whole narration, you really look at developers, how corrupt officials are really putting a lot of honest investors as victims. But to that landmark project, there are 3 things I really want to, the valuation issue, the beach implication, and the optics. The optics is not good for the country. The story broke on CNN, and when I read it, I was like, wow. But this is a space I'm not really very good at, so I really try to listen to those that have better exposure. But the valuation why was the valuation very interesting to me was, okay, I went to I've been to the property times, and when you did your book launch, you did it around that space again. So I was trying to look at it that this is double Sterling Bank's property valuation. Why would Lagos try to upset this entity despite the employment opportunities it has done for thousands of Nigerians? So that's by the side. But the reality is that it doesn't mean because it's risky setting up business in Nigeria, we discourage Nigerians in diaspora. It's a blunder. People say you don't invest by patriotism. Who told you that? I work in many Western financial service firms, NGOs and contracts. One of the things they put is their country. The Japanese, they have certain nationalistic agenda for Toyota, for different brands. The same with the Americans. So we need to understand that, yes, we have a problem in our country. Nobody's taking away from it. But saying that we demarket our country because, for me, for example, despite the fact that I have issues with the present administration, I invest my own quota. And that's why I tell people that the difference between me and an average writer is that I invest where I put my mouth in. And I try to understand those things. Because I've seen G-Movie, I've seen Foladiola, I've seen young, vibrant presenters who best, despite the fact that they had exposure in America and UK, and they've been able to be the Don Jazzies of our industry. So why can't we just...
The point again is that we have to come back to reality and say that Jim Ovia himself, a long time ago, put up a mast for internet in Nigeria, and the military pulled down the satellite dish. They say it's for coup. The same Jim Ovia. If he didn't have a strong heart, I know, but I'm just telling you. Imagine if, yeah, but the point is that, right? They pulled it down. They didn't understand what satellite dish was. They said a bank should not have satellite dish. That is for coup. So they pulled down the satellite dish from a bank in Lagos. Jimovia is strong, so he stayed. Today, Zenith Bank has progressed. This is the same point.
But Carl, you see, you're just saying the same thing I'm saying. Because, see, despite the fact that he had pullbacks, that hasn't stopped Jimovia from investing. In fact, he has a heavy investment in real estate in Lagos.
Yes.
So, you see, the thing, we're seeing the same thing, and that is why I tell people that, see, despite the... Because, see, Warren Buffett will say something that you invest when the street is hot, when it's red. Most of the investments I make a lot of money from is where...
the point is that I want the guys... That I'm saying...
It's easy for people that have options. It's easy for people to have options. She has 2 passports. She can say, okay, yes, she can choose. But
it's what she's saying. But what she's saying is what... I'm sorry if I spoke over you. I think what she's saying is that if you fail to keep what you have will go away. I am saying they did not destroy landmarks building. People saying that have never traveled or don't understand how a beach economy works. If you take away the beach from Florida becomes mushy. It is the beach that makes that place earn the money it's earning. So to come and say, oh, event center is there, blah 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 is there, you have never left the shores of this country. Just go to Togo. Don't go to America. Just drive across the border to Togo, Benin. Don't even go to Cote d'Ivoire and see what they're doing with their beach. The owner of Landmark has never said it's against the road. Though. The owner of Landmark said he wants the road. The road will help his business. I think the issue was where the road will pass, front or back. They could have said that project a few miles down the road. Remember what I said, it's a coastal railway. It's supposed to have express road with less encumbrances so you can move goods freely and fairly. Again, let me just close with this, right? If where Landmark was where the Dangote refinery is, would we have bulldozed the catalytic converter of the refinery because we want to build a coastal road? We would not. We would have found a way around it.
Yeah, but Carl, that's exactly what I'm saying here, that we should not look at the political implication of the fact that a business went wrong. Yeah, I feel very sorry for the businessman.
What would the guy do now?
After investing, I read the story.
What would he do now?
From UK,
yeah.
But the question here, the issue here that I have is that because we have problems, we avoid Nigeria. For me, I think it's from the pit of hell. Because if we keep saying that, because there are problems, we can't invest in the country. No.
Okay.
The same Genovia you spoke about, the same guys, these guys have had their deals bonds, but they kept on perseverance. And that's why we can't leave the pessimism. What we just need to do is take advantage of opportunities. Life is not about risk. I understand that we lost $100 million. $200 million. That's the valuation. If I had $200 million, we get you a 2-tier one bank in Nigerian stock market. But the truth of the matter here is that does that really make Lagos a no investment destination? The answer is big no. Big no.
Gotcha.
What we should really be working on is how the government should really avoid this kind of bad optics. Because the truth of the matter is that why I was so against this project, the only reason why I was really against, because it divided the country. you could see some people saying, "Oh, they brought politics to it. They brought different," and really, that's really discolored my own thinking about it. So I didn't really understand why the president was that. But at the end of the day, they had their own, and I understand. But I think our job here is not to demarcate the country.
No, let her speak.
Can I have a right of response?
Sure.
Okay. When you open an investment account, you do what is called an investor's profile, right? When I go, I write my profile, what I see myself achieving, what kind of risks I want to take and stuff like that. We all are different investors. I'm a rational investor. When I go to a market, I'm not going to say because my great-grandfather is from here, I'm willing to take that risk. No, I'm just a rational investor, and most people are. And when you guys say at Antigua, what they're trying to do right now, many of them have done their accessories, and they've realized that many of them have Nigerian heritage, right? So now they give contracts to lots of Nigerians.
They are Yorubas. They are Yorubas. They are all
Right?
Yorubas. They are ethnically Yorubas in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Ethnically.
Yeah. So I don't know if they're ethnic people. Some say they're Igbo, some say that.
No, they are. They Oni of Ife.
Karaoke, they're singing whiskey, they're singing Davido.
The Oni of Ife goes
my
there.
brothers.
They do a ceremony in Cuba. The Oni goes there. He goes to the Caribbean. If you look at the DNA of slaves, right? The Caribbean are mostly Yorubas. In America, the coast of Virginia are mostly Igbos, Senegalese. Because these were companies that were exporting slaves. So they go to a particular place and they were exporting slaves to particular places. So you could tell the DNA flow. Angolans went to Portugal. So you find if a company was taking quote unquote this tribe from Africa, they go to a particular place. So it's a side point, but those are our brothers. I think Ogogo, what people are saying is that you are sort of saying don't invest in Nigeria. I think if people are wanting to say
is my investor profile.
What if you said there's an option?
My profile is I want as my risks to be as minimal as possible. I invest in the stock market. I'm an old my husband calls me an old investor. I buy Walmart, Costco. Like those are my kind of investment because this is my investment profile. Probably Olumide is more risk averse, right? He's more open to the risk. He likes his exposure. If you like risks, go ahead and buy in Lagos. Everybody goes to the casino sometimes and throw their just try and see if they can win a couple of bucks. Me and my sister, we sat down yesterday and we crunched our numbers on the value of our land. We were saying, gosh, we've just lost $6,000 in a couple of years because we took into account the forex, how much we spent and everything. My sister was like, we messed up, man. We messed up. Imagine if we had used this money to put on a down payment for another Airbnb.
Okay, but let me just make this point together. You are talking.
Marketing is my investor profile.
So you are saying. So just to be clear,
different from mine.
You are saying for the diaspora out there, you are saying Antigua is an option.
It's an amazing option. Go visit the country, and if you have. Don't go and put 600,000 on a place. It's like you're playing the Russian roulette. You don't know which day they will.
I think is this second part that's making people right full of the second part. What you saying?
Okay, don't play Russian roulette, and I wish you all the best.
All right. Let's get Oxley Tech. Jump in here. Oxley Technologies.
Yes, I'm
so,
here.
Thank
you so much for this conversation.
The topic is FDIs. We're talking FDIs, foreign direct investments. We're talking investing in Nigeria. What's the perspective? The data show that the trend is going down. FDIs are reducing, and the government wants to do a diaspora bond, which means they're going to come to people like Agogo, my sister, and ask her to invest in the diaspora bond. What's your take? If the government came to you and asked you to invest in a diaspora bond, would you invest in that diaspora bond to invest in Nigeria?
Okay, well, thank you for this opportunity. I'm going to look at the numbers personally. Right? I'm going to look at what is the yield on Eurobonds that the government currently have over the years. How has it gone? What is the profile of the country as we speak? I'm going to look at the numbers basically and say, okay, where does the numbers go? And based on that, based on the economic reality of the country as we speak, that's what's going to drive my
my either to buy in or not. But having said that, I think I also want to weigh in on the real estate FDI side of things, and I'm going to speak to my personal experience, which is I'm taking towards what the other lady said, which is look at everything is not patriotism is good, right? It's good to promote one's country, but it depends on what drives you in terms of investment. Are you in it for profit, or are you in it to help the countries? Most diasporans, wherever they are, people throw their money down to Nigeria, sometimes not necessarily because they want to make it, but they just want to help the country. Let's help the homeland. The homeland. Everybody thinks about that, but it depends on what drives you. Personally, for Lagos, right? It's quite risky. I understand where Lumide is coming from, patriotism now. Oh, yes, that's good. But it depends on what drives you. Lagos is quite risky, and there are a lot of bad actors. There are a lot of, let's say the truth. We are a country where there is rule of law, right? Rule of law is not, it doesn't look at who you are and what. So there are a lot of bad actors, even in government. People say things and tomorrow they change. Do you understand? So that is what investors look at. Are you static? Whether it is tomorrow, whether you take government from one hand to another, from one party to another, will your land policy be static? It doesn't matter what happens. So that is what people look at over the years. And if you watch Lagos very well, most of the lucrative lands in the islands, they are owned by big families, very big, massive families. I don't want to mention names, right? Massive families, all those big families, we know them. And some of the times when people do their due diligence, you need to listen to people that have done land investment in Lagos, in land. People try to do their due diligence. They do their best, But some of the times you will go to the government, people will tell you everything is good, but before you know it, down the years, stories will pop up. It always happens. Particularly the big families. We know
Oxley.
It always go the way. So don't blame people. People have their own personal experience.
Yeah, Oxley.
Don't blame people.
I get you. And again, let's say this right. The paperwork for Landmark was valid. So if it's a question of validity, he had valid papers. And again, I'm talking to the guys that are commenting on Twitter. So, my brother, the beach is not, the beach cannot be included. Hold on, don't help him. It's never part of the beach. Don't bring that up here. Don't bring it up here.
What are you talking about? The beach is not included.
He said it by himself.
Okay. The beach in Nigeria is owned by the federal government of Nigeria. It can never be included in any C of O. Any land near a river is owned by the federal government of Nigeria. You see that Lekki Bridge that goes from Ikoyi to VI? Lagos State could not build that bridge until they went to the federal government and they got permission to site those pillars on the land, because the land in that Lagos on the river is owned by the federal government, not Lagos State. So to say that Landmark did not get the beach as part of the CFO is silly. He never said it was his land. No beach is owned by anybody. But when you sell ocean-facing property, you are selling it for billions because it's facing the ocean. That's why it is sold for billions. That's why Landmark put the tent there to start with, and that entertainment center there, because there was a beach. That's why he didn't go to Moshi or K2 to build that same center in K2 or Moshi or Ikorodu, because there is no beach in Moshi or K2 or Ikorodu. There's no beach even in VI. He built it in that Lekki place there, so that it's going to be on the beach. So let's drop this that he didn't get the land. It shows insensitivity. We're talking something that bringing, he didn't buy land. This is a guy that borrowed, he knows his money. He borrowed money from foreigners to invest in your country. He's a Nigerian, 100 million naira, and you gave him 7 days, and you're arguing that beach is not his or beach is his. Let's be sensitive here, guys. Let's be sensitive here. Everybody can speak now. First light, please go ahead, but please be sensitive. Don't make this argument. I beg. This is someone's. Have you lost $100 million? First light, I beg. Let's be sensitive. I beg. Very quickly, sir. Very, very quickly.
So the point there is this. Let's also remember, the federal government just made a law. It was in Buhari's tenure that 250 meters away from the beach belongs to the government.
It's not a new law. It's not a new law. It's not a new law. It's not a new law, sir. It's been a law forever and ever. Lagos State land they had to get permission from Yaradua to build it, sir. That's what I'm telling you. The Lagos State Bridge, Lekki Bridge, Yaradua had to give them permission to build that bridge because the land is owned by the federal. Even in that Lagos State, any land near river or ocean is federal land. All right, Oxley, thank you. Let me get first light. Go, jump in, first light. I beg, first light. Take it easy.
Thank you, Carlo. You see, Carlo, I'm sorry. Maybe you got me wrong. You see, Ogogo said something very profound. And let me tell you what she said. Due diligence. Even if the coastal rail did not happen, a co-Atlantic land capturing is going to grab landmark. True or false?
False.
Even if the coastal rail did not happen.
False.
Because they're still feeling. Pardon?
False.
No, because the land, Eco-Atlantic is still claiming that land up to that same.
How can Eco-Atlantic claim an ocean?
Let me finish. You see, the reason I'm saying this is that I want us to understand something. If I'm going to put my $1 billion on any business, I'm going to look at the short term and I will look at the long term. And this is what every business person here has said. Who media has said. Ogogo has said it. I will check my risk. I will check all these things. If the land, if the front ocean, like you said, which is common law known to anybody, that it belongs to federal government. Agreed. Remember, it's not only landmark. Because my own issue is that it's not only landmark that had that same issue. There are other beachfront.
But they're not complaining. Landmark is the one complaining now.
Do you understand? But you see,
okay, we're gonna move on.
Are you hearing?
Yes, first, go ahead.
Yes. So what I'm saying is that if I'm going to invest 100 million, I'm going to look at the risk in the short term, and I'm going to look at the risk at the long term. Just like you said, the front bridge is not is federal government owned. You said it again. Federal government, Lagos State government to build those bridges, they got approval from the federal government. If I'm going to invest $200 million of my money in that place, I will get the approval from the federal government. I don't care what anybody says. I will not even take an inch of the risk to put those things there in the first place.
But first light, you are mistaken. You are confusing people. Listen, there is no structure of landmark on the ocean. There are inflatable rafts and trays and umbrellas on the beach. There is no structure on the beach. The point is this: by closing off the beach, you close off the attractiveness of the land, which closes off the earnings of landmark. There is no building. Now look at the picture. He has inflatable rafts on the ocean. There is no structure. He doesn't own it. The point he's making is this: when you put that road there, you have destroyed the value of his investment. That's what it's like going to front of, or you go to Florida now. Go to Florida. They will never build a windmill. They will not put a windmill in New York or Florida or California, because people will say it's spoiling my view. That's what he's saying. It's not. He didn't put any building there. We have to move on. It's not about landmark.
What I'm saying. If I am going to risk $100 million of my investment, and I know that in the long term, I will have problem with a certain part of in front of that view. Carlo, I am saying, as Bright Ibitoye, I am not going to invest my $200 million in it to even get myself to this point that I have to be saying they should not do what they want to do.
Sir,
Because
sir,
it's like you say
sir,
that
sir, who approved, sir, who approved, sir, who approved the coastal road for Atlantics, for high tech? Who approved the coastal EIA? Has it been approved? No, has it been approved?
We are raising issues about investment.
It's not been approved. So what's what? So if you are the one bringing the point that he has to do his due diligence, his due diligence shows there's no EIA. You can.
That's what I'm saying.
All right, let's move on. So let's go.
I'm not talking about the coastal rail. I'm talking about my own $200 million investment.
All right, I agree with you.
I will do anything to prevent my 200.
Okay.
My 200. I think the conversation has changed.
Yeah, I want to get back to FDIs. Let's get Kenny.
Just 1 minute. I think you see the key thing here is that you know, I'm not blaming the businessman. I'm not in blame game here. The key is that because we have issues with our country, we have such discrepancy between the government and business community, doesn't mean that Nigeria is a non-investment destination for Nigerians in diaspora. What kind of optics is that, for heaven's sake? The fact that even as a point of option is embarrassing on the space itself. Because, see, I can tell you for free, every country has unique issues. I'm not defending. For once, I have critical issues even around the real estate in Nigeria. But I've looked for options that I'm comfortable with. That's what the space is all about: enlightenment, how we can mitigate risk and ensure that we don't make mistakes. It's very unfortunate. Nobody's happy about what happened to the businessman. Let's be honest with this thing. So saying that the businessman is wrong is wickedness, and saying that the government should just... But the truth of the matter is that it doesn't take away the fact that Nigeria has a bright future. And we need to look at how we can place those bets. Because when we talk about these things, it just amplifies conflicts and unnecessary argument. What we should be looking at based on the argument is why is like
for FDIs, I'm for the real estate as a whole.
Let's just move on from landmark. Yeah.
Because the market price you get on those houses are not reality. They are not real. I live in Abuja here. I was once trying to bring in an investment into Nigeria. And let me tell you, I've been trying one now. The only reason we did not get it because most of the land for real estate here, they don't have the CFO. And even when you get the CFO, right? I have a friend just on your way to the airport, right? They're building a hotel, a 5-star hotel. And one day FCDA came in and said he had encroached into a certain inches of land, just like the one in front of the local airport in Lagos. And then something happened. They couldn't finish that project. But let me tell you, after that, the guy had done other businesses in Nigeria. And I will tell you for free, if I'm going to, and that's what I want all of us to know, whatever you're going to invest in, Nigeria still remains one of the best destinations for business. It's another person's opinion, but this is it. Also, apart from you, like a real estate guy, the guy that spoke earlier, like somebody, like he said, if you're going to invest in everywhere, can you check what is their law says in those places? Can you please, not even for an inch, violate that law? Because we all talk about rule of law here. Those places we're mentioning, the things the people do here, they cannot do them in those places, right? For Dangote to build his refinery, he chose a free trade zone. He didn't just choose any place. And just like we said, he had other options, but he chose that place because he knows that place is well protected by law. And I want all of us to know that Nigeria is still a business destination. And apart from that, let's go into so many other things that are happening in Nigeria. I mean, I was so happy today when I listened to a guy talking about plane hangar where they can manage and fix aircraft in Nigeria. These are things we don't hear before. I am not here to sell any government, but let me be honest with you. If you're going to put $1 million in any business, please, I beg you, in Nigeria, never you for any reason not getting an appropriate document, so that even at the end of the day, if the thing did not go well, you could sue the channels and you could get whatever you can get hold of your businesses, so that at the end of the day, you will not need to regret it. That's just what I want to say. But saying that Nigeria is
Okay, I think.
no for me.
All right. Okay, guys. So, guys, just going forward, that's the last closing on landmark. But let me just make this point again, right? It's very important we do not. Let me choose my words very carefully. Our reality. It's very important that we listen to the reality of everybody. You don't know the reality of the person you are responding to. If we bring people that have, everyone's saying in Nigeria is a good investment destination. On what basis? Give me the basis. If I run the figures down for you, I posted a trend yesterday because I wanted people to read that trend and ask themselves a question. If Nigeria is an investment destination, then why are the foreigners leaving? The data shows that from 2014 to date, FDIs have fallen. But we're here saying that Nigeria is a good investment decision. Are we saying we know more than them? If we know more than them, why are they not bringing their money in to the country? The data is there. Look at my pinned tweet. You see the data of FDIs. It's falling. Stock market, the foreigners have gone. Nigerians have come back. We've raised rates. Money has come back in on FPI. But are the foreigners back in? So the data should speak to us that there's something wrong in the country. Why are foreigners not coming to before last month we were the largest economy in Africa. We are no longer the largest economy in Africa. So why are the investors not coming? We can't cover it up by saying you must love Nigeria and support Nigeria. It doesn't work that way. We have to ask those questions. Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
Okay. What's the difference of what I'm saying is that we have to also look at the numbers. That the 90s, Nigeria are still making opportunities. You said something, FDIs and FDIs have reduced drastically. But last year alone, Nigerians made 11 billion on the stock market. This 4 months alone, Nigeria made 18 trillion naira in the stock market. It wasn't good, Carl.
Yeah, if you go there, the American stock market is beating the Nigerian stock market. The FTI, VTI is beating Nigerian stock market. And America is supposed to be a slower market because it's higher base. American real estate is beating Nigerian real estate. If you invest in American real estate, it beats Nigerian real estate. The best two investments in the world, over 10 years, over 5 years, if we measure by ETF, is American equities and American real estate. Now, commodities has come into the picture, commodities. So even if we use that ranking, even if you have money to invest, you have $1 to invest, America is giving you 5% on your $1, guaranteed by the federal government, absolute guarantee, up to 250,000 naira, a dollar, up to 250,000 dollars. We're supposed to be better than them because they have a mature economy. They don't need money. We need money, but they are beating us. So I want us to look at the numbers and get back to the question. Is Nigeria still a preferred destination for foreign direct investment? Notice I didn't say FPI. I want FPI, the long-term one. Tallman, we've got Tallman04. Thank you for hanging out here so long. I know you've been here for a while. Tallman, do you want to unmute, sir? We've got Tallman, we've got Kenny and Sonny. Tallman going once, Tallman going twice. Mr. Kenny. Kanye Kolawole, how are you doing, sir?
Hi, good evening.
Hey, Tallman, here, go ahead, sir. What's your take? Is Nigeria still an investment decision? You've heard the arguments. Some people say they won't invest in Nigeria. Some say we have to invest because it's a veritable investment destination. I agree. Nigeria has got its opportunities, but would you invest $1 million in Nigeria or Antigua or the US? Where would you take your $1 million?
Interesting conversation so far. So, interestingly, when I joined this call, I was having this conversation with my wife. And I was just asking her that if she has $1 and she decides to convert it to Naira and buy gold in Nigeria, and if as at the time she bought the gold, Naira to dollar was 400, if the gold has gone to about 900 Naira today, and she needs to get her $1 back, what happens? That means you'll have lost money just by bringing in our $1 and having to take it back to our $1 after some period of time. clearly it's a 50-50 thing, right? But I think for now it's scary because I've worked with companies in manufacturing. I work with a sovereign investment fund. I work with banks, and clearly the signs are not looking so good. What they would say is if the biggest business in your country are those in the financial sector, then there's a big problem because if the enablers are the only ones making the money, then it looks like a lot of things are not right around it. So,
Yeah, good point. I mean, guys, don't sleep on Nigeria. If you count out Nigeria, you will lose money. I bring people on this space for a reason.
Yeah, for me, I think it's a 50-50 thing. If you want fast money, you can come into Nigeria and leave. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, there was a guy we brought in here that makes t-shirts. Who remember that guy we brought in here that makes t-shirts in Kano, where he gets cotton from Kano and the rest, and he makes t-shirts in Lagos, and he was saying he can't meet demand. His biggest problem was that he doesn't get enough cotton in Nigeria to make his t-shirts, normal t-shirts we wear. This guy's from the US. Who remember that guy? And this is the question. That guy's story is Nigeria. Lots of opportunities, but you can't take advantage. The guy wants to make t-shirts. There's cotton in Nigeria. He can't get enough cotton yarn. That was what he couldn't get enough cotton yarn to make t-shirts in Lagos. So if that guy could get cotton in Nigeria, he makes a lot of money. And that's the thing with Nigeria. Everywhere is an opportunity. If Nigerians have 10 hours power every day guaranteed, our GDP will double. 10 hours, or not 24, just 10 hours guaranteed. The GDP will double because manufacturers will now produce more and prices will fall. Kenny, what's your take? Are you for Nigeria? Do you think the Nigerian economy is a veritable destination for investment? Mr. Kenny, you want to go ahead?
Yes, Carl, thanks for having us. My own take is I'm not in nationalistic jingoism. It's based on data, raw data. If you can convince me, I'm going to have a return on my investment. I'm going in, but if not, I'm taking my money to where I'm going to get my money back. You know what I mean?
You don't think that nationalism plays any part in business?
Yeah, maybe to some certain extent, but not in this political environment. That nothing is really certain. You know what I mean? But without that, having said that, I'm leaning strongly towards raw data.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
Blood and soil, you know?
I got you. If Nigeria sent out a bond that says you can invest in a bond for your local government, and that bond will pay you 1% over 100 years, but it will provide water or roads or school to just your local government. It will be low interest rate, 1%, but you'll be guaranteed that water or that road will happen in local government area. But you make nothing, 1% over 100 years. Would you invest in that bond?
Sure, I can. I can. But it don't come with. So what was the state of my finances that time for me to throw money around for that kind of thing? But if I'm comfortable, it's something I can do. You know what I mean? But another question is that who is in charge? Who is in charge of the bond? You know what I mean? Is this Central Bank of Nigeria, right?
Those are called impact bonds.
Impact bond, right?
Yeah, called impact bonds. So, and they are real life. You can actually invest in an impact, and when they deliver, then whoever the manager is will pay them the money, and then you get your 1%. It's not commercial. It's designed to develop.
Sure, that's kind of thing I'm open to. I can actually do that.
So not commercial. So you would do the non-commercial if you were sure it would happen. You don't care about the return. You take the 1%, correct?
Yes, I mean, yes, it's something I can do.
So what do you think Nigeria in terms of FDI? Do you think it's still? What do you think is the problem? The policy or the implementation? Do you think we have the right?
It's a policy. We remember like a few years ago, like up to 5 years ago, Nigeria is the biggest economy in Africa, even surpassing South Africa. Now, last time I checked, I think we are third or fourth now.
It's the environment, it's the policy, it's a policy maker. Is that no? I was reading something. I don't know, maybe it's true or not. That House of Assembly, the Senate has increased their salary.
Wow. I hope it's not true.
And they can't still pay 70,000 naira as a minimum wage in Nigeria. So, that kind of thing give you headache, make you sick. That's my own about investing in Nigeria environment in general.
Yeah, I hope that's not true, because if it's true, we'll go nuclear. And those guys they are a liability. The National Assembly, they are a financial liability on Nigeria. They take, they don't return. They said, and I'm quoting them, we cannot cut one kobo from our budget. Everybody was cutting. The citizens are cutting. Everybody's cutting, but they, with their jeeps, say they cannot cut one kobo. I'm quoting the Senate president. They can't cut one kobo. So I get your sentiment exactly.
So, sorry, my last part is that, is somebody talking on Olumide Andu, or is that Olumide?
That is the Olumide Capital himself.
Okay.
Yes, that's Olumide Capital himself.
Oh, Capital himself. Okay, Olumide Capital. Olumide Capital is kind of, what I'm getting from his commentary is that national, I think he's prioritizing nationalism.
No, I think he's saying, if I understand, he's saying you should not or cannot invest in Nigeria. I think he's saying that it's an option, but you can't say you cannot invest it. And the lady has clarified that, listen, I'm saying I do not want risk. People are like, if I don't want risk, why invest in a risky venture? She's right. If you don't want risk, why then do patriotism and say, I'm going to invest in this place called patriotism? That's why I asked you that question about if you would invest in a local government area, and you said you would. So it's down to, I'm an advisor, right? It's down to what you can absorb. If you can absorb risk, sure, invest in the country. If you know you can't absorb risk, just buy central bank bonds and leave it like that. But if you can't take risk, then don't go into the kitchen. I think that's what he's saying as well. Yeah. Makes sense? Okay, thanks, Kenya. That was Tosi. Mr. Tosi Oluwagbenga, how are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Tosi, you've heard the conversations. Gaduka, I'm coming to you. You've heard the conversations. Olumide, Agos, and you heard everyone speaking. What's your take on this? Nigeria's FDI is falling. That's not an issue. It's falling. Why is it falling? Everyone seems to think it's the implementation. What's your take? Is Nigeria a good destination? Would you invest in the country, diaspora, local? What's your take?
Yeah, personally, I would choose to invest in the country, not minding the fact that I don't politically align with the individual who is actually the president now. But I believe the Nigerian country is bigger than an individual, and the best he can have is 8 years, So I can invest in Nigeria, and I actually have the plan. If I have $100 million, I know the kind of business I'm going to do in Nigeria, and it's not going to be a business that will be based basically in Lagos. There are a lot of opportunities to make money upland from the southwest Nigeria. There are opportunities in Ekiti State, in Ondo State, and all of those states where I already have my eye on what I can do and how I can contribute. So for me, as much as I don't want to make loss on my investment, for me it is about economic growth, jobs for people. There are a lot of unemployed people, across our states. So looking away from the money, not converting anything to dollar or pounds or naira, it's just about creating an opportunity to create value. And for me, I would definitely invest in Nigeria because there is nowhere like home. Every other nation have all their citizens who believes in their nation, even at very difficult times like this, and they still stick to support and invest in their country. So, away from the noise, I still believe that Nigeria is a good place to invest. As a good investment destination, and I just hope that I will get it more right politically as a nation, and we have more policies that support businesses, not those that, that we don't want to hear news that makes investors run away from our country, and they probably want to do something big, and you are pitching your ideas with foreign investors, and you are reading news that that a business is being brought down because of a road, all those kind of news that does not, support, foreign investment directly. So, but as a citizen, in putting it shortly, I'm interested in investing in Nigeria if I have the capacity to do so. And if I'm going to do so, I'll be physically available to monitor and manage my investment.
Okay.
I won't be that in prosy.
All right. Real quick, Mr. Jags, I'm seeing what you are posting on the space. Mr. Jags, you work for Lagos State. If you want to speak, sir, anytime, I'll put you on. If you want to do a special space, I will put you on with respect, sir, so that you can answer a few of these questions that people are asking. Completely open to work with your timelines. People are saying lots about demolitions. You speak for the state government. I see you posting on the TL. If you ever want to speak on this space, or you want to speak outside the space, we are open to hear from Lagos State, sir. We're not here to post memes or to make comments. We want to hear from you, sir, as a representative of Lagos State in any format that you determine. Respectfully. There is no getting you, there's no abuse on my child. So, sir, you don't need to post memes or post this one or post whatever. We get it. I live in Lagos. I'm from Koshofe. The floods in Lagos are bad. I went to Lagos. The canal, there's a canal between Maryland and Ojota. When I was growing up, that canal, the entire under the bridge was green. It was a mangrove forest. And that canal goes all the way from Ojota. It goes into Okwebi, and it just keeps on going. That whole place was green, like a mangrove forest. I went back this year. There are houses there. So between Ojota and Maryland, that whole canal, it's like a natural canal. There are houses there. Those homes are illegal. Clearly, they are illegal. Also, if you are driving to Ojota on the right-hand side of the bridge, where you are on the side of the lagoon, I think it's the lagoon, there are homes there. People are sampling that waterway and building. All those homes there are illegal. That's Koshofe, they are all illegal. So if Lagos State goes there tomorrow and demolishes, people will say, yeah, 2 hours. Sir, we get that. We completely get that. I don't think anybody really is against what the Lagos State government is doing in terms of sanitizing this area. I think it's the way they are doing it, sir. So don't worry, sir. I'm not here to attack Lagos State or to no. We want to hear what the methodology, what is happening, how they demolish, should they keep those. That's what we want to hear, sir. So that people that are listening abroad in Nigeria have a better understanding. So don't worry about it, sir. No need to defend. Just say, even if you want to send me the prepared documents, sir, give it to me. I will decimate it as you gave it to me. And this is from Lagos State government. We're not here to pull Lagos State. We're not here to... No. We want the information so that tomorrow, if we want to invest, we do it properly. This is to Mr. Jibril A. Gawat, as he's posting stuff on his page, sir. So, respectfully to you, sir. Thanks so much for that. I appreciate you, sir. Sonny, your hands are up. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Kanon, and this is everyone.
Go ahead, sir.
For me, I would say there's too much red flag, to invest for Nigeria at the moment. And even before this government came on board, Nigeria will be battling with the institution. I mean, we don't really have that strong institution, that can able to do its work diligently, but we have just like someone, you may have a property, a plot for any part of the state in Nigeria. One day the governor will just come up and say, you know what, we want to use it, So, I mean, we really lack institution until we start having a strong institution. I mean, that's when the international community or whatsoever will believe to invest in Nigeria. I mean, I have someone who came over from US to invest in farming in Nigeria and spend almost 400,000 US dollar. But his business was very frustrated and sadly he had to leave. So and he said he will never ever come back again. So that's it. What me personally, and it's not someone told me, and I know the person. So that's how it is for me. I mean, it's too much red flag. If I may say, Carlo, that it's not advisable to invest at the moment, but maybe in future, who knows? So we're going to see how it goes. Thank you.
So a question before I go, Sonny, question for you. If they gave you £1,000,000, would you invest in Nigeria or would you convert it to dollars and invest abroad or Jackpot? If they give you like £10,000,000, would you stay in Nigeria and invest, or would you have dollars and invest abroad or Jackpot abroad? How do you do that £10,000,000? Just real quick question.
Yeah, if they give that, I won't invest in Nigeria. I will change it and find somewhere that I know that is very, considerate that I need to invest.
Interesting.
Not Nigeria. Yeah.
All right, got you. Interesting. Let me get Joy Boy Kenzie. Is it the same? Joy Boy Kenzie. Thank you, Sonny. I appreciate that answer. Joy Boy, please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
How are you doing, sir? Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, so concerning this, if Nigeria is a preferred destination for FDI.
Yes, sir.
I would say that it's a good place for people to invest. Nigeria is a very good place for people to invest, but currently Nigeria is not preferred. This is because our government has already given us a bad PR, or in layman terms, you say bad reputation. We have a flaw in our constitution, or should I say in our law. We have the Land Use Act of 1978. Now, this act says that all lands in the state are vested solely in the hands of the governor. Now, it's supposed to be for holding it in good trust for the people to allocate it to their respective residents. But now, this act is being exploited by people that come into government. Now, if I have a case whereby somebody can buy a land, do the necessary documentation, get CFO, a new government will come in and then what? Say that they have interest in that particular area and revoke everybody's CFO. Now, people outside are hearing this stuff because rumor travels very, very fast. Rumor travels very, very fast. People outside are hearing this stuff when government gives notification very short, comes the next day, tear down the property, go to certain buildings, certain businesses, close them down. There's no rule of law. So we have very bad reputation at the moment because our government, they don't do things like they have good intentions.
So let me ask you a question.
They have bad execution.
So do Nigerians do the good things? I know Nigerians are building land on homes on land and drainage. Are they also part of the problem? What do you think?
No. The problem is that some of those lands they went through some certain documentation. Some people passed the law, passed the permits for those buildings to be erected.
Yes, but but so if I go and build on a canal, I know it is on a canal, but I bribe the government guy. The government guys give a fault here. I know it's on a canal, but I have money. I bribe them. I get CFO on the canal. Who is at fault?
The owner of the property is at fault there. But when the rule of law stands is that before the property will be erected, there will be certain task force from the government that come back. When these people are laying foundation, they'll come and stop it before going further.
Okay.
You get?
I hear you. I hear you. I mean, we're saying the same thing. It's with the government side, but the people's side is also.
The people's side is also involved because we have our own part to play in this good reputation stuff.
Okay, let me try to. What I
Not
want.
do the right thing.
I hear you, sir. I hear you. Thank you for that comment. I want to try to share a few of the investment opportunities in Nigeria. I don't know if because a lot of people are saying Nigeria is a good investment destination. Let me see if I can share with you guys a few things that Nigeria has got to offer to the world if you're trying to invest in Nigeria, right? So you have a country that has all forms of the ecology, every form. You have the desert, the mangrove, the savanna, has inland waterways that have clean, fresh water, not seawater. You have rivers inland, clean, fresh water. Why is this important? That means that agriculture in Nigeria, you have land mass that you can grow crops and food, and you can export that food. One of the biggest growth of exports or business in the world right now is basically leasing out your land to be used to grow food to export to countries that do not have the vegetation to grow land. So in terms of the climate, the natural resources, the land, and the labor, Nigeria is just smack there that we can actually become a major food exporter, i.e. cash crop exporter. We can just pick even one crop. We can pick soybeans and we can export soybeans to China, and that would create millionaires for the farming class in Nigeria. Brazil did it. Brazil exports tons and tons and tons of soybeans from Brazil to China, and they've created billionaires just from that soybeans alone. So we don't have to get too sophisticated. Just clear a lot of land, build a lot of silos, give farmers these seedlings, do irrigation, and then let farmers essentially just go out and create this. Number two, we have a population of youths. Well, Nigeria is one of the countries where you have more younger people than older people. There are more than double the population that are below 16 than are maybe above 50. So you have a young economy that the youth in Nigeria speak English. They know the internet. So if you come and cite an industry here, look at Thailand. I spoke about Thailand 2 weeks ago. Not Thailand, the Philippines. The Philippines has grown an economy around services, these financial services. When you call a US bank or you call, say, US credit card company or US IT company, most likely you are talking to somebody in India or the Philippines. Those jobs are massive, millions. The unemployment rate in the Philippines is like 4 or 5%. 4 or 5%. So nearly 96% of the folks in the Philippines are employed. Think about it, if 90% of Nigerians were employed. So what we have to do again is to look for industries that can employ a lot of people. Oil and gas brings in money, but doesn't employ anybody. How many people do you know work in Shell? But telecoms, where you have these data centers, where you can get trained to answer questions, to understand apps, can employ millions of Nigerians. You just have data centers and there are folks with their headphones taking calls and listening to people and helping them out. You employ millions. So between farming and IT, we've employed nearly 60 or 50 million Nigerians if we were serious in doing that. And all these are things that can happen really tomorrow. Really tomorrow. You have to pass the policy, pass the tax programs, and then industries can then come in. Who are going to come in first? Nigerians. It has to be Nigerians coming in first to invest. Then the foreigners come. If Nigerians don't invest, the foreigners are not going to come. Again, Kaduna State, with all the issues in Kaduna State, they have one of the largest single FDIs in Nigeria in the steel plant that is being set up by a few Indians. A nearly $700 million investment in Kaduna near the iron ore. Kaduna doesn't have iron ore near them, but they've put an iron ore, they've put a steel plant there. Now you know why the Kaduna State government was doing a dry port in Kaduna. Now you know why they're trying to get a railway line into Kaduna. That's what they are doing. So the former governor on that state was very, very deliberate in trying to ensure that the state has these things to not just attract but to retain folks in Kaduna. The point is that the governors, the subnationals, have a lot to do. ShopRite is good, but that's not the FDI we're talking about. You've got to go out and bring money into your state. You've got to make these laws and make your state easy, not foreigners, for Nigerians to do business in. If I can't go to your state and do business, how do you think a foreigner will come to your state and do business? It's not going to work. So we're going to start from attracting local.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but I just wanted to add some stuff to what you said. And the truth of the matter is that if you look at the headline, Nigeria is going to be preferred destination for FDIs, to be honest with you. Look at what's happening in Asia, look at what's happening in the Middle East. And if you look at geopolitical ranking, Nigeria is lower. You cannot compare Egypt and Nigeria in terms of geopolitics power. But, the conversation went a bit divergent when we now call Nigerian diaspora. There's a duty. It's a different thing entirely. There's a duty. For Nigerian diaspora, for example, I've listened to many technocrats, and one of the things I realize is that we cannot say we want our country to be better and we don't play a part in it. It doesn't work like that. I don't work for government, for example. When I'm invited to different conferences around the world, the first thing I do when they say I talk about my country, I talk about the positivity, I talk about the youth, I talk about Paystack, I talk about PiggyVest, I talk about InnerSwitch, I talk about GT, I talk about Zenith. These are successful entities that have been able to, despite the odds against them. And that's how I saw my country. And sometimes the positivity that comes back is that, the check will do say, wow, these people, you're really doing great. And indirectly, you are exporting goodwill to your country. I'm not saying we should be patriotic on empty stomach. I think a lot of people are missing that point. But you see, when you have options, when you have built to some level of capacity, you have a duty to help your patriots. Because see, we're a country of 200 million people. Over half cannot even invest much more. Over half cannot even eat much more invest. So we have a duty to also propagate prosperity, not just waiting on government. And that's where I come in and I say, okay, someone is telling me that, and this is how you can. If you have so much money, you have done your allocation properly. Definitely, you must have had investments in foreign currency, foreign assets. So investing in Nigeria should not be a problem. And there are ways you can invest in Nigeria, different ways you can invest in Nigeria. There are investment banks that do diaspora funds, that do diaspora investment. We have banks that offer some pools that you can invest in real estate projects that will not give you headaches. There are projects that are REIT. So I think what we need to do is that we need to understand our priorities here. We know the country problems. I don't belong to the establishment. I don't share the same. But it doesn't mean that I don't want my country to succeed. I don't want my country. That is where a lot of people miss the problem, because we get offended by the political players in the space. We think we are doing ourselves a favor by not investing in our country. I think it's trouble. So the end goal is that we need to look at ways we can, because we cannot just be ranting on Twitter. I don't believe in that, and we cannot be ranting. We must play our own part. Our part starts by the little we can do. If we can do 5% on our country, I think it will go a long way.
Someone just sent me a DM, and the person said, I want to invest in Nigeria, but I'm afraid that if I invest in Nigeria, the politicians will think that their policies are working. I would like them to focus on corruption and ensuring that there's security. If we invest, they will think that people would invest even if there is corruption and people are not safe to go to the farms. Someone sent me that DM.
I agree, but there's a way you can work about it. So, for example, I also have problems investing in real sector in the Nigeria economy. So what am I doing? I'm looking at areas that can really edge against those problems. So first of all, for example, an average Nigerian diaspora that's like that lady that really has assets in different places in the world, it should not cost us to have 5 to 10% of our portfolio in Nigeria, it will not do any damage to her. So what she can really do is look at risk investment. Okay, how can government definitely know the Nigerian government needs liquidity? So you get a premium of 20% if you invest in saving bonds, or you look at the. But if you really want to go the longer way, look at First Bank. When we spoke last week on this space, First Bank was down 30%. Now First Bank has gained 30% of that price. So if you put 20 million naira, that's you already have 6 million. So there are short ways you can really just mitigate and put yourself in position. The idea here is that a lot of people should not turn a blind eye on the country. That's what I'm just saying. Yes, there are problems. We know there are hyenas in the system. We know there are issues, but you don't turn a blind eye. And that's where I stand. And I feel that time things will change better. Nigeria will definitely get to a point where, but we need to take those risks. We need to encourage people. We need to, because hopes are down. If you go on Twitter, a lot of people are hungry. A lot of people. So how would you be selling negativity, and how would you be selling? That's not how we should work, and that's the business we are in. We need to sell people the things that can make their lives better, not dampen their hopes, and that's what I'm really working on. That's
where is the place for reality, Olumide?
What is it?
Is there a place for reality? I mean, if I look, I just posted something now from the NIPC on reasons why you should invest in Nigeria. I put it up there now. So if you go on the timeline, NIPC has listed why you should invest in Nigeria. On just one slide, they have nearly 25 reasons. I find it very, very interesting. So if you're looking for arguments on why you should invest in Nigeria, you see abundant resources, tech savvy, you see 2 decades of political stability. It's all there. But where is the place for reality, Olumide? If you look at Nigeria, for instance,
the reality is that the place for reality is that, for example, I would naturally have put maybe a high amount of my portfolio in Nigeria. It's not that. You see the difference here. That's reality. The reality is that as far as I want my country to do that, I'm also having my own security. I'm also knowing fully well that I don't work in government. I don't have an entity that has spent billions of dollars for me. So I also have to play my own part. But you see, that is where intellectual and nationalism, there's a balance. You know that, okay, the reality is that, well, there's a risk. Where would I put? So I make sure that I attract a safe haven investment or income. At the same time, I'm also not putting my eye on Nigeria. I think that's a balance I put rather than just be on one side.
Gotcha. Okay, well said. Let's get Mr. Adebisi. Mr. Adebisi is here. Adebisi, lover of God and truth. Please go ahead. What's your take, sir? We're talking about FDI. We're arguing now between we're arguing between data and realism. The data says Nigeria is not. Let's be clear. The data says that Nigeria is not a good investment destination. What do you say?
Yeah, thank you so much for that topic you brought up. Good evening to everybody. I wanted to ask that, is there any other sub-Saharan Africa where FDI is currently increasing? Those are the questions you should be asking. Because we know what the world is going through. It's not just, yes, you might want to bring up Egypt and all of that, but Egypt too has its own issues. You know, Egypt too has its own issues and all of that.
FDI is going up in Cote d'Ivoire, it's going up in Ghana, not in Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, and is it Namibia and Botswana, Congo, Kenya. Kenya is doing a lot from the BRICS Association. So overall, what is in that Nigeria is going down. Africa is not going down as fast as Nigeria, but Nigeria's fall has been very spectacular because we've come from 8.8. Cote d'Ivoire hasn't done 8.8. You understand? That's why it pops up in Nigeria. Nigeria was the only country in Sub-Saharan Africa on the JP Morgan and the Barclays Bond Index. Only South Africa was there. Even Egypt was not there. We were there. Now we're out. So it's like we've gotten to a very, very high height and we're on the way down. That's why it looks so steep in our case. But Ghana hasn't been there. So that's, if you get what I mean, yeah.
I get what you're trying to say, but that's on my first point. Then my second point wants to speak to people's conscience is Nigerians, for many people that came on this space, I've been listening, people have been coming and saying they will not invest. Many of these same people were trained almost for free by Nigeria. Yes, I understand some other people were born abroad, but majority of people in diaspora today were trained almost for free in Nigeria. Nigeria was going through a lot of issues, but the issue has always been there before we were all born. But Nigeria say trained you as a medical doctor, trained you as a IT person, and then you are making a lot of money abroad. Now, suddenly Nigeria now needs your help for you to now take a certain portion of it. You are now saying, no, I'll go and look for somewhere who never cares about you, who can wake up tomorrow and also bring up a law, and you'll be done. I was saying in my house here, you cannot change toilet seats. You cannot just move a toilet seat without the city getting to know. You have to go take permission from the city. It's also done abroad. So it's always easy to castigate and say this one, this or that one about your country. The reality is, east or west, your home is your home. When Ukraine issue started, the Nigerians that were caught up in Ukraine, they were not calling to you, they were not calling people from England or all the big places to come and help them out. You were still Nigeria, as much as Nigeria was going through a lot of issues. The same Nigeria you called upon to come save you out.
Okay, can I play devil's advocate if you don't mind? Just devil's advocate. So the Nigerians are saying, okay, I hear you. Nigeria trained me abroad and I've gone abroad and I'm sending back diaspora remittances. I'm sending back money to Nigeria. Because remittances are the number one. If you take away crude oil, number one earner for Nigeria. They are sending back remittances. They want to vote. Nigeria says no, they can't vote. They want to do investment in Nigeria. It's made very, very difficult. Their mother or their father or their brother is at risk of being kidnapped. The security services are not really working. Things are going up in price. So do they have a point that, or should they then say, can they ask for more? Or is it enough to say, listen, Nigeria has given you a good start in life, keep your mouth shut and support the government? Do they have a point to say we demand more? We want Nigeria to be like where we are right now.
Okay. Yeah, they have a right to demand more. But to go ahead, Olumide has put it very, very succinctly. You have a duty to also sell your country by words of mouth, even without having to put any money down. You have a lot of duty to sell your country positively out there. Many of the issues that affect passport written is not per se government, or is the character of the people who goes abroad and portrays the country that will affect the passport rating of that country. So we also have a lot of duty on our own role to portray the country as in positive light as much as possible. You might not like the government. The government can lose power tomorrow. You might not like the government, but the damage that will have done with mouth might not be easily reversed.
Good point. Okay, I hear you. I think thanks for taking my question and the back and forth. I think I just tried to give a lot of balance there. Mr. Thank you so much. I want to bring on Satoshi, everything Satoshi. And because Satoshi, I wanted you to talk about this crypto ban. Let's call it the crypto ban, not just the crypto ban, national security ban. Do you think that affects FDI? Let's keep it specific to if you think that affects FDIs, everything Satoshi. What's your take on that? Are you hearing any negativity on that ban on the FDI flow to Nigeria?
I can't hear anything. I'm just going to drop and come back on, please.
Okay. Everything Satoshi, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Yes, sir.
I actually want to. Okay, are you done with your question? So
yes, sir. I wanted to give us that sense from the crypto. If you can have your own comment, but if you could also give us that sense of that Twitter, that crypto angle. Has the ban on crypto and all? Is it affecting any? Does it have an effect?
Okay. Okay. I think I'll address your issue so I don't lose my train of thought. So to address your issue globally. So that we just zoom out a bit. The pinnacle censorship is coming from for crypto, at least documented. It's no longer conspiratorial that the fight for privacy is conspiratorial. It's now documented from the FBI, the NSA, all of these three-letter organizations that to use crypto, you must KYC, right? And so if you then zoom back in, obviously whatever the United States does, every other country would follow suit. And in our case, they've doubled down on P2P, or what is deemed P2P, basically most users going on a platform to exchange cryptocurrencies. And they've done a good job at threatening to basically stop people's businesses that allow for that to keep going on, right? Or for whatever reason that they give, right? I'm not going to go too deep into that. So the consequences, obviously, privacy issues, like you've mentioned, they want, it's all about control. That's the TLDR for how I always put it. They want to they want to have your KYC. They want to know your information. They want to know who is moving what. And a lot of people who are in the crypto space were unfortunately, for some of the people that are not very transparent, new, with not a lot of information, were somehow sold the information that crypto is not censorship, or is rather censorship resistant, right? That it can, once you hold crypto, you are immune from tyrannical attacks. And that notion has, like you're talking about reality has dawned on most people. So I, on the other hand, will say that because most of the users of these technologies on an application level really don't understand what's going on unless you work for these maybe fintech or crypto platforms. You might not really, you might think that, okay, I think the best way to put it is technically the law is not implementable, right? It's only implementable if you are using centralized crypto exchanges. But if you know the inner workings of the protocol itself, for which the one I show, that is truly censorship resistant. Please forgive my dog's sound. That is truly censorship resistant. It is Bitcoin, but the sad thing is, majority of the population is not there yet.
I got you. So
information arbitrage. They are still using centralized. Sorry, did I get the feedback? What are you trying to say?
Yeah, I was just trying to say. So do you think it's a net positive for FDI or net negative? This ban on what do you think? Do you think it will have a major effect?
Obviously not, because if you look at, say, for instance, a centralized token like USDT or one of these, what we call stablecoin, right? Yeah. Or all of these other cryptos, we saw that there's data rather to show that foreign diaspora funds, right? Diaspora funds moved through these channels. Because obviously, if you are moving money with Western Union to Nigeria, those fees that are quite ridiculous, you can save it if you use crypto. But that's the perceived utility for most people. The ease to move value from diaspora back to the motherland was useful. But as useful as that was, when push comes to shove, that value can be, just like in Naira terms or any other fiat currency terms, can be withheld. Or since we're talking about property, right, there really are no property rights in that realm. So the next phase we will see is people who have probably been disappointed by this will look for smarter means, of which exists. It's just that it's quite complicated to still obfuscate the government's overreach.
So what you're saying, let me see what you're saying. You are saying that Nigerians can still trade in crypto irrespective of the ban. That's what I'm hearing you saying.
Nigerians can still use Bitcoin. Unfortunately, it's not my bias, it's just the technical reality.
Okay, all right, just get that point out there.
Used well, could help people to have that censorship resistance property that the crypto community have then adopted for guerrilla marketing purposes and other nefarious purposes as well.
Gotcha. Good point. What do you got out there? Okay, super. Thanks for that. Let me move to Kingsley.
Could I make my point about the Nigerian?
Please go ahead, sir. I apologize. That was my question. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so to just tie it back to what I was saying about property rights, right? Either being real estate or any property. The problem with real estate anywhere, especially Nigeria, first of all, before I make my point, is it's difficult to maintain. Even if you're in the 1% of the 1%, you're a lucky Nigerian that has loans, 500 million or 1 billion naira to do real estate, whatever. The problem I have seen on my own end is maintenance issues ridiculous because every year, same house you build is going up in maintenance value. It's the same. There's nothing that has changed in the materials, but everything is going up. And then you have a scenario where the weakening currency makes, like, there's a barrier to entry for the real estate, the consumers that the developers are looking for, right, or the clients. So when you have a continuing poverty, you will just keep having ghost towns like we see in Abuja and all of these places where they are proper modern houses, but there's people buying it unless you're doing money laundering or all of these nefarious maybe section. You just want to hide money, right? But to the people that really need it, it doesn't benefit them. And then to the property rights thing, I initially wanted to ask a question about what your thoughts were on identity politics playing a huge part of the initial conversation. And I'm not really going to go into that so it doesn't spiral into another conversation, but there are no property rights in Nigeria, and that is a reality, like you have said, Carlo. So in my opinion, to knowing this, to dismiss people's opinionated statements for simply wanting to either live in their reality because they understand that these litigation problems is 100% avoidable if you already know how the country has been working. And people wanting to avoid that, I think they deserve every right, especially if they've put sweat and blood to make their money. I have never been a believer of real estate in Nigeria. I don't think, even knowing the guys that they bring the money to do this whole real estate thing, I think it's ridiculously difficult to beat inflation and Nigerian rate, real rate, not the documented rate that we get, right?
Okay.
I think it's difficult to beat the real rate of inflation with
All right, got you.
With real estate, especially with the property rights problem. So that's just my thing. Thank you.
Yeah, real quick. I'll go. My sister. Lots of comments on my page are saying there's gaslighting on the diaspora. A lot of diaspora comment. Let me make you do a final. I see your hands up. Just a final post on your. Maybe close it up for us. I know you've got a lot of flack on this.
Okay. I came to the diaspora at age 17, so I can tell you that the only thing that I got from Nigeria, obviously, I went to federal government college, so that was the benefit, and it was part of federal government college scholarship that got me where I am today. Please, diaspora, listen and listen carefully. If you find like social impact bonds in Nigeria, invest in them. I invest in Grameen Bank, and that's because my senior year research was on Grameen Bank, and I've seen the impact it does, right? It's more like a donation, but you have to do your due diligence. Personally, I'm from Delta State. If my Delta government created social impact bond, I will not buy it. I will not donate because I know the amount of corruption that goes in there. So diaspora, if there's a social impact bond, like I've told Carl many of times, if Abia State does one, I will put my money in there. It's more like a donation because the rate of return is minimal, right? So diaspora, please, if there's social impact bonds in Nigeria, do your part. Invest in those social impact bonds. For example, if there's a social impact bond that's created for the water problem in Kano, and it's run by, trusted hands, invest in that. The rate of return is related to nothing, but then Like for me, I say at least my conscience is telling me that I'm doing something good. But don't go out of your way. Again, do your investment profile. Understand yourself. If part of your investment profile is you want to be a nationalist and help Nigeria, go ahead and invest your hard-earned money in Nigeria. We all are in the diaspora. We know how hard it comes back. The other young guy said is what diasporas doing abroad that causes our passports to fall. No, you're gaslighting us. Don't do that. I've been in Canada and all everybody I've been around are doctors, lawyers with large disposable income. We don't do anything here. Majority of us are amazing people. But you're not putting the onus on the system, right? So that's why people say you're gaslighting us in the diaspora. We work hard. Not sitting down and we come on Twitter and we see them demolishing a building. What do you think goes through our head, right? So again, diaspora, social impact on put your money where your heart is, like I would say. Okay, thanks.
Thank you for that. I think that was I like that point. We're going to have a space on social impact bonds. Just to explain what it is so people can understand what it is. I'm surprised Nigeria isn't doing it. I think Canada did it. I think Nigeria wants to do it as well. But we should be doing more of that. It's not commercially. You can't invest and become a millionaire, but you invest and get results in your community. So we're going to do a special space on that. Mr. Temi Oluwa Shubowale, one of our sponsors that allows us to be on air. How are you doing, sir? You've heard the conversation. Very interesting. Yeah, you're the stock market guy.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So
I've heard the special impact bit, and I think for me that connects with me a lot because when we think of FDIs and inflow, sometimes we should think of impact first before the
commercial
returns for us. Yes, because again, sometimes we do a lot of, some of us, we do a lot of CSR and things on our own, and we know the impact some small things do, right? For example, imagine we're able to, all of us, most of us went through the system where we're trained. Imagine we are all able to give back to our schools. I mean, in a systemic way. You know how much, and you know how those schools would be without even government funding. If diasporas are able to do that, those schools won't be what they are today. But it's not like we're trying to say it's a must, but the impact, right? We can get to a place to say, look, the money I'm taking back is not for interest or profits, right? But to impact and give back. If you start thinking in that way, I think we get more FDIs back, and we have to get people that will be able to manage it effectively. Maybe the schools. And I look at the education part because if education is sorted out now, we are looking at the future. In 10 years, we'll have people come out and have more people come abroad and be able to. So it becomes a cycle where you are impacted when you're in school. When you go abroad, you remember the school. It becomes a cycle where government may not need to spend a lot of money in that area again. And for me, that's impacting, but there has to be accountability and trust. Because if the circle breaks, somebody takes money away or something, that is the end of the circle. And for me, that is very key. I'm talking about Nigeria itself. And from the things I've heard, people don't invest. Investments that will do well are done in downtimes. And I'll tell you what it is. Most of the big investors in the world look for opportunities when businesses are down. So when I use shares, for example, I think you only made for speaking about First Bank. First Bank was down 44% some 2 weeks ago, right? It was a discount to people. Now it was gone up by 35%. You don't invest when the investment is almost at its peak. So if the company is doing very well, things are flowing, the country is at its peak performance. You invest when the company is at its lowest. Look at the government in 10 years back. Do your research and find out, okay, it's not for government to give you the statistics. You have to do your due diligence and your own research on the area you are going to. Is the government interested in it? What will happen there in 10 years? You have to do your research on every single thing before you invest your money. Although the risks are high, but the thing is, it's a risk reward, right? A company in Nigeria, Morrison, has gone up by 3% in the last 30 trading days. In this same Nigeria that we had a lot of it. GT Bank declared the highest profit in the banking industry ever in a time when we have the highest dollar rate ever. So it's contrarian sometimes. So you have to do your due diligence to invest when it's down, so that when it comes up, and you have to know, okay, I'm in for 5 years, I'm in for 10 years. You know when to get in and when to get out. That for me is key. Personal research, everybody needs to do it on their own. You can't wait for any, because journalists are biased sometimes. They write about what they feel that the audience wants to read about, what they like. Do you understand? You know what you are bringing, what you are doing. The government is not what it is today, but it can change. Do your research, right? Invest when it's low, so that when it goes back up, you're able to exit. And for the social impact, please, Mr. Louis, I've been interested in. Sorry, Mr. Cardi, I've been interested in that social impact, please, because if you're able to tackle education from that point, things will start to change. I would, infrastructure and maybe security.
I think we should even convert the diaspora bond to a social impact bond to allow the local government and states issue those bonds directly, so that Ohafia can issue impact bond. I can invest in Ohafia, and the way it's structured, people will think they're going to steal the money. They can't steal the money in the social impact bond. It's the way it's structured, and they only get paid when they deliver. So you invest, but they don't get the money till they deliver. So you can say, for instance, I want to build a school in Ohafia, and I want to use a social impact bond of $1 million. I invest in that $1 million. The guys on the ground in Ohafia will then build the school. It's only when they build that school that the bond is released to them. So you can see everybody has to perform. They know that there's...
We use local. Sorry to we will use local people. So people that
of course
are around that place are the ones that will do the work. So if your child, for example, your child is in a school, right, and you are the bricklayer, you can't afford to misbehave. It's become the community police kind of.
That's where we're going to with that. So if we do that, then there's a bit of answer of planning. You go and invest in your local government. There's more time in, but it's a corporate bond. It's a real bond that is going to be quoted, but it's a local bond owned by the local guy. I think we have something there. I'll get that space up and running. Thank you, sir. Thinking so super kind of breed. Guys, we're going to round down. We're almost at the end. So we're going to make sure you guys are here to speak. Just keep it short. I'm so sorry. Keep it short, and then we'll just see if we can make everyone, and then we'll close out. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you for finally getting to me.
Sorry about that.
I think what I just have to say is that I've heard different sides of the conversation, and they are very interesting. But I think one major thing is that there are reasons for FDI, because the topic is Nigeria still a preferred destination for FDIs? And if you are talking about investment, foreign or local investment, it basically lies on the person doing the investment for the cost. You can be doing it for social cause, or you can be doing it for profit. If we're talking about the profit, then it's a total different game, because, for example, there are certain things that we are trying to bring, and it's crazy, but there are some certain news you just see from Nigeria, and you're just wishing that certain people you are talking to are not actually watching that news, because how will you then explain to them how safe their investment is going to be? So I think for that part, it is. I don't know everybody's opinion, but I think for me, if it's for profit, it's not really attractive. But if it's for a cause which I am passionate about, yes, definitely. Yeah, you might want to pay back and try to change your country or do better for people. But that is not for profit. That is just you trying to go fight a battle and hopefully you win. But you won't want to put your hard-earned money, like one speaker said, when you're looking to multiply your income, you won't want, it doesn't make sense to put it in a very high-risk environment where you have other environments that make things easy. Somebody was talking about doing your due diligence, investigating. Yeah, I think even in a jungle, you can do due diligence, right? But what makes it attractive is the ease of getting your things done. You have a place you can get your investment done simple. I read one guy that said they bought a massive land in the US, and they didn't meet anybody. Everything was done online. So certified, trusted, everything was done. You can't really compare that to maybe Nigeria, where you have to start looking and investigating and trying to know what the government will think in the next 10 years. Of course, you can make it work, but it's not too easy, and that's not attractive. And also, we have to be truthful with ourselves. Most of the people making it in Nigeria are politically exposed people. If you are not aligned with one party or the other, you will definitely have issues along the way. For me, that's factual because I have a lot of people doing business in Nigeria. My parents, my brothers are doing business in Nigeria, and they will tell you that if you are not exposed politically or you're not kneeling down for one big man or maybe one community leader or something like that, your business will be impacted massively. And for people in the diaspora, they don't have that time actually. They just want to, they're in a system that actually works. So trying to tell them to start doing this rough work and, trying to be James Bond just to invest their money, it's not really attractive.
All right,
so for me, the takeaway is, if it's for a cause, a charity, you want to help your people, you want to try to see if you can change the country, make it better, of course, Nigeria is always your home.
All right.
But if it's for profit, then, that depends on what you think.
Interesting comments. Genstar, real quick. Genstar, let me have you guys do real quick if you don't mind. Genstar, thank you, Kingsley. Yeah. Genstar, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Kalu, for the opportunity. All protocols duly observed. Quick run through my reasons why I will not invest in Nigeria. One, I'm in my mid-40s, so I do not have enough time to recover any potential losses. Retirement is 68 in the UK, so I have roughly 25 to 27 years, which means I am upping my pension contributions, investing in real estate, and paying down my mortgage. So anything with even average risk is out of the question. Even in the UK, when I save, I try not to put anything beyond 5% in a stocks and shares ISA. So that's how low my risk capacity is at this time. That's one. Two, as a diasporan, I feel like it is unfair to ask me to be patriotic when I'm not given the right to vote. And I don't know if it's the Ghanaians or the Kenyans can vote in their elections. I cannot put my money in a place where I've been disrespected by withholding my civic rights. It needs to be a two-way street. You can't expect me to give into a place where my civic right has been taken from me. We just finished our local government elections here in the UK. I voted. Nigerians who came in 6 months ago were able to vote, and our votes were able to count. You can't disrespect me and expect me to give you my money. I have enough respect for myself. Thirdly, a couple of friends in 2020, during Buhari's tenure, all of them, I think I'm the lowest earner in that group. All of them earn like really well, working in Deutsche Bank, working in like fantastic jobs. And they were discussing, one of them wanted to invest in a hostel in Akwa Ibom State, where he's from, because when he retires, he wants to come back to Nigeria. And everyone was giving him the reason why he shouldn't put his money in Nigeria. It wasn't even this current government, but it was another APC government, Buhari's government. And he decided he withdrew equity from his house, added some savings, and he built a hostel. And the other person bought an £80,000 flat in Manchester. That £80,000 in 2020 is about £120,000 to £150,000 in Manchester. The rooms that person is going to rent, how much is he going to get from it? And when you look at the fact that the Naira has fallen compared to where it was in 2024, now he regrets it. But at least since his plan is to retire and live there, he's not converting it, plus his pensions, he will repatriate from here in his old age. So it kind of works out for him. But I'm just wondering, with all the insecurity, will he be able to afford to live in his state 20 years from now when he retires? I don't know. But in that WhatsApp group, nobody agreed to put their money, even in real estate in Nigeria. The person in the Deutsche Bank had bought several, is it one or two cars, not Taxify, I don't know, not Uber, the other one in Lagos. Both. He couldn't recoup his money. He's done one or two or three things in Lagos where he couldn't recoup his money. So everyone, sometimes we go on holiday together, we sit down, we talk, and everyone just came to the conclusion from their different experiences that Nigeria is not worth it. I yield the mic.